Chapter 934. The original children in the village used their skillful hands to weave willow twigs and gave them to Xiao Bei as gifts. Xiao Bei took out small handicrafts made of silver, gold, and jade from her bag and gave them back. In her eyes, the willow grasshoppers were more precious than the jade beads because she did not make the beads herself. The children in the village had never seen jade since they were young, let alone understand its value. They only thought that the red and green were very beautiful. They rejected the gold and silver products. After all, there were signs passed down from generation to generation in the family to let them understand the value of gold and silver. Xiao Bei proposed a new theory of friendship. That was, she would not sell the gifts she received. Friendship was priceless. Therefore, if the person who received her gifts did not sell them, they could only leave them there and not buy them. Therefore, they were both precious and worthless. The children in the village were confused. They thought about it and found that it was indeed so. Therefore, they happily kept the gifts and showed Xiao Bei the various gadgets they had made in the past. As a result, Xiao Bei and the other children were shocked. The children who could not afford cloth dolls used thin willow twigs to weave green and white dolls. The most amazing thing was that the willow twigs on the dolls' heads were not completely destroyed. When water was poured on them, they actually sprouted. Some of them looked like hair, while others looked like they were wearing a small green flower. Xiao Bei, who felt that this thing was very valuable, did not care if her brothers and sisters were busy. She asked someone to send a message to buy it and whether it could be sold for a good price. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, who received the message, were walking around the county. The two of them said that they were not busy, and they were really not busy. The specific matters were left to the people in the inner courtyard. A disaster relief and reconstruction work did not require too much energy from the two of them. They only needed to grasp the general direction. If it were not to give the people of Hong Nong a firm confidence, the two of them would not have come at all. If they were to say that they were busy, they were indeed busy. They had to appear in front of the people from time to show their existence. After receiving Xiao Bei's message, Zhang Xiaobao smiled and said to Wang Wan, Xiao Bei actually ordered the people of the Miao protection team to lie on the iron chain and let the children step on it. She has won the villagers' favor in an instant and wants to help Old Willow Village earn more money. Oh, you don't think she's just putting on a show? Wang Wan took the telegram and saw the idea of selling willow dolls for money. She said, "You're really your sister. You know how to find business opportunities." Zhang Xiaobao nodded in agreement. That's right. Many of the things sold in Baby's Candy House were ideas from the 9 children. Only children know what children need the most. When many adults don't care about children's seemingly childish ideas, their lives are no longer complete. Then think of a way to let them earn money. Even if it's a small amount, it will prove that their thinking is correct. Wang Wan didn't comment on Zhang Xiaobao's philosophy. She just wanted to know what Zhang Xiaobao could come up with. Zhang Xiaobao beckoned a person from the inner courtyard to come over. He gave a few instructions and continued to walk to the other passers-by. Let's go. We'll also put on a show for a lifetime. It seems like you've never planted a saw and mixed grass seed toy before. I don't have time. Wang Wan thought of what Zhang Xiaobao said. She had seen it before, but she hadn't bought it before. Zhang Bei soon got the news, so she gathered the other 8 people and planned to hold a standing committee. Later, considering that the people of Old Willow Village needed to participate directly, she added a few older children of Old Willow Village. It became an expanded standing committee meeting. At the meeting, Inspector Zhang Bei emphasized the spirit of the meeting. Then she explained that under the guidance of an emperor and the care of 2 direct family leaders, the 9 people of the inspection team followed the work principle of go where you go, get rich. It was important to give specific guidance to the willow weaving industry of Old Willow Village in Hongnong County, Guizhou. After carefully listening to the positive introduction of the willow weaving industry by the people of Old Willow Village, Inspector Zhang Bei praised the achievements of Old Willow Village's willow weaving industry and gave important instructions. She said, "We need to further carry forward the spirit of Old Willow Village in the willow weaving industry. Continue to improve the corresponding support system. Strictly pay attention to the relevant people's thinking. Open up new ideas, carefully verify, boldly imagine, and show the spirit of not being afraid of hardship, tiredness, and hard research to improve the economic income of Old Willow Village." During the meeting, Inspector Zhang Bei emphasized the discipline of the meeting again and criticized Inspector Wang Xiaoyuan, who was also a member of the standing committee. Inspector Wang Xiaoyuan sincerely apologized and deeply realized that it was wrong to casually interrupt others and look down on the importance of guidance. Next, when Inspector Zhang Bei was about to continue to give guidance, Inspector Wang Xiaoyuan actively spoke in order to make up for the mistakes he made. In the spirit of starting from a practical point of view, he proposed specific plans. First, under the guidance of Inspector Zhang Bei's spirit of opening up the willow weaving market in Old Willow Village, he encouraged the planting of willow trees to achieve sustainable development. Second, under the guidance of Zhang Bei, he researched a new willow weaving process to reduce wastage and cost. Third, under the guidance of Zhang Bei, he established a working group to make dolls from willow and other grass seeds. He proposed that Inspector Zhang Bei be the group leader and that he would open up a market after returning to the capital. Fourth, under the guidance of Zhang Bei, he would fiercely dig into the potential consumer market of Tang's children and pay attention to publicity work. He would use the theme of growing a doll of his own to lay out advertisements. Inspector Zhang Bei expressed agreement with Inspector Wang Xiaoyuan's proposal and voted on the theme of growing a doll of his own, which was unanimously approved. After the meeting, Inspector Zhang Bei inspected the weaving factory in Old Willow Village and visited a few families in the village with advanced willow weaving technology. She kindly expressed her concern to the children who stayed at home. The Old Willow Village Standing Committee meeting was a successful meeting. It was a meeting that carried forward the past and opened the way for the future. It laid the foundation for Old Willow Village's economic development for the next few decades and was the guiding light for the development of children's toys in Tang Dynasty. In the end, the children in the village looked at Xiaobei with admiration. They couldn't understand how such a simple thing could become so complicated when it came to Zhang Xiaobei. They all sighed. Knowledgeable people were really different. Zhang Xiaobei didn't care about Xiaobei at all. However, it didn't affect their fondness for the theme of growing a doll of his own. They also admired Xiao Yuan, but they felt that when Xiao Yuan spoke, he always added that he was under the guidance of Zhang Bei or something. It was a little redundant. Xiao Yuan explained to the children in the village with an unfathomable look, "This is called wisdom and political command. If I didn't say this, I don't know when the meeting would end. What's there to be afraid of? It's fine as long as the goal is achieved. You know Yan Zheng, the original county magistrate, right? He stole Xiaobei's limelight. What happened in the end? He was set up at the county's south gate." The children in the village said in unison. For a moment, they made an expression of fear for Xiao Yuan, and Xiao Yuan's image in their hearts became even more lofty. Wang, Xiao, Yuan. Xiaobei, who was not far away, angrily called Xiao Yuan's name. His expression was ugly. "They will think it's true. I'm going to tell my brother and sister." Xiao Yuan looked at Xiaobei in fear and quickly explained to the children in the village, "I was just joking." Yan Zheng did something bad. He was caught because he asked your village to remove the wooden planks on the bridge. He ran in front of Xiaobei and tricked us with words. Xiaobei, who often tricked him, had better martial art skills than him and was seen through on the spot. Therefore, it's very useful to practice tricking us. We know. We're not stupid. After dealing with Yan Zheng, I can go to school again. After you help me sell the doll for money, we'll repair the road from the bridge to the school ourselves, a girl in the village who was relatively older said longingly. Since even the children knew what tricking was, the adults would definitely know. Therefore, Zhang Xiaobao didn't say a word of nonsense in the county. When he walked around the county to show his friendly image, he only said how many supplies would be delivered, how long the new Hongnong County would be built, how much it would cost, how many days it would take to repair it, and what kind of compensation would be given to the people who lost their lives. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were talking, the people nearby heard them and asked those who didn't understand. After the explanation of those who knew the industry, everyone understood that this time, the people who raised livestock would receive the most compensation. Not only would they be compensated for the number of livestock lost, but they would also be compensated for the cubs and fodder. As for the loss of the livestock during this period of time, it wouldn't be compensated because it wasn't easy to calculate. Specifically, the people who raised livestock would receive the most compensation. However, in terms of the actual loss and compensation, the people who would receive the most compensation were the farmers. Those who raised fish, shrimps, and crabs in paddy fields would be given a new breed of seedlings next year. The new seedlings would have a higher yield. Those who didn't raise livestock in paddy fields would receive less compensation, but like those who raised livestock, they would receive compensation for the cattle they didn't originally have. Those who originally had cattle would receive more cattle or newly bred horses. At the same time, regardless of whether they were planting rice or wheat, they would be given new seeds and farming tools. They would also be given the grain, oil, salt, and silk needed for next year's harvest. They would also be exempted from 1 year's rent, taxes, labor, and other miscellaneous items. The one-time compensation for craftsmen would be calculated based on the number of people in the household and the profession of the worker. The officials who delayed the high scholar examinations would be provided by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. They would directly go to the capital to participate in this year's autumn examinations. All of their food and lodging would be provided by Savant's Restaurant and Joy House. Since they were delayed by a month, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had already forked out a lot of money. They didn't mind if there were more people. Those who passed would be given the status of a high scholar. Those who didn't pass would be given the status of a high scholar. Those who didn't pass would be given the status of a high scholar. Those who didn't pass would be given the status of a high scholar. When Zhang Xiaobao was talking about this matter, a student stood up and said to Zhang Xiaobao, "I was delayed and affected. I didn't have time to study. How will you compensate me for not being able to pass the examinations?" Zhang Xiaobao paused and didn't say anything. Wang Wan frowned. "Then what's the purpose of you passing the examinations?" "To be an official. To be an official in the capital and to be a local official." The student said bluntly, "Oh, if you passed the examinations and became a local official and suddenly encountered such a disaster, would you not be able to be an official because you were affected? Would you not be able to command during the disaster and rebuild after the disaster?" Wang Wan asked again. The student shook his head. "It's not the same. I'm a student now. I shouldn't be thinking about becoming an official after passing the examinations." "Then you don't have to take the exam this year. You won't be able to get in because the exam will ask you how to be an official. Not only will it be asked in the spring and autumn exams, but it will also be asked in the high scholar exam." Wang Wan felt that this person was very interesting and laughed as she spoke. When the student saw Demon Fiend Cuckoo laugh, he didn't dare to make a sound. Compared to being an official, his life was more important. Chapter 935. After a few moments of thought, Zhang Xiaobao seriously said, "You're right. I've truly been delayed. Then how about this? The students of Hongnong County, starting from now, help me out. I will give you all the tasks that officials should do. Be it the storehouse or the chow, the stratagem or the scribe, the punishment or the worker, the farmer or the farmer, the official or the proprietor. As long as you do your job well, I will give you an official position. If anyone can come up with a better post-disaster reconstruction plan or a locally improved method of trade, I will give you an official position based on your ability. If anyone can truly understand the situation of the Great Tang, come up with a reasonable development plan for the Great Tang, report it to the imperial court, and obtain approval, I will give you a position under the secretariat." As soon as his voice fell, it caused an uproar. The fact that he had mentioned so many officials was already shocking enough. Fortunately, given the statuses of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, it might have been possible. But now he had even mentioned the Secretariat, and that was the Prime Minister. After the uproar, the crowd fell silent once more. Putting aside whether or not the position of Prime Minister was up to Zhang Xiaobao, they first needed to see if they had the ability to be Prime Minister. The students lowered their heads in shame. The student who had just said that he had been affected blushed. He didn't even dare to think about the Prime Minister, because he didn't even know the locations of the various provinces of the Great Tang, let alone the land, population, specialty products, agriculture, industry, and taxation. Then do you know the situation of the various places in the Great Tang? A child standing at the front of the crowd asked. Zhang Xiaobao paused. Why was there a child? Why didn't he go with Xiaobei? But he immediately put aside these thoughts and asked with a smile, what do you think? How old are you? 14. You're young. The child was very smart and clearly understood why Zhang Xiaobao had asked about his age. He then excitedly said, you must know. I heard that you're in charge of the Great Tang Bank. If you knew less, the current emperor wouldn't have held the fall imperial examination for you. That's what they all say. Zhang Xiaobao nodded in agreement. He truly did know. Not only did he know all the provinces, he also knew the written data of all the counties of the Great Tang. He even knew the specialties of certain provinces and counties or important strategic villages. Wang Wan nodded as well. She was more familiar with the terrain and the natural weather under normal circumstances. She had learned a lot about the needs of war back then, because many classic battles were inseparable from the terrain and weather. Seeing that this child was smart, Wang Wan asked casually, who told you that? Many people, including my father, my mother, my third brother, the housekeeper, and the officials who came to visit during the festive season. Last time, during the Dragon Boat Festival, the Hall of Secretaries ordered. I'm wrong. I heard it from the common people. Perhaps the elder child was too excited, or perhaps it was because Wang Wan asked in a calm tone, as if they were chatting, but the elder child blurted out a lot of things. Halfway through, he realized and covered his mouth. He quickly covered his mouth with his hand and stamped his feet as if he was angry with himself. Seeing this action, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan looked at each other and understood. She must be from a family of an official in the capital, and she was a girl. No wonder she was so small and smart. Why did a little girl like her have to dress up like a boy? Wang Wan sighed and said to the elder child, you know so much. Now, there is a difficult task for you to do. Do you have the confidence to do it well? Yes, what is it? The elder child puffed out his chest and raised his head. The Yamen needs a clerk. From now on, you will come with us. When we are done, we will go back to the Yamen together. Wang Wan pointed to the place beside her and signaled for him to come over. The elder child really came over. He looked excited and unknowingly enjoyed the benefits of the power in his family. Zhang Xiaobao had no time to ask about the specific identity of the little girl, so he continued to talk about the compensation. Next, he talked about the people who did not have much income and received relief. They would continue to receive relief. At the same time, he would check the actual situation of their family, whether there were patients, whether there were people in the house, the patients would be treated, and the labor force would be arranged to work. Finally, he had to deal with the businessmen. For the merchants, Zhang Xiaobao didn't actually compensate them with money or goods. Who asked the merchants to be so adaptable? The compensation he gave them was based on the tax receipts they had paid in the Yamen and the various transaction registers to calculate the size of their properties. They were divided into several grades and provided with the corresponding 3 years of interest-free loans from the Tang Bank and 2 years of business tax exemption. If the fixed shops were damaged, they would be repaired. If they were willing to continue to play the special role of the businessmen and help to circulate and prepare materials during the reconstruction process, they would be given the right to sell various specialties in the north of Hebei province. As for the businessmen who had previously paid less tax through various means, resulting in a lower grade of interest-free loans, which was inconsistent with their actual situation, Zhang Xiaobao did not care. Who let them evade tax? Fortunately, the businessmen were smarter than the students. Even if there was such an existence, they would not be stupid enough to mention it. Evading tax was punishable by jail. After the compensation plan was settled, the people in various industries who were no longer worried began to listen to orders and busy with the reconstruction. They did not know who would pay in the end, whether it would be Luoyang, Chang, or Zhang Xiaobao and Wang families. They only hoped that the reconstruction work would be completed quickly and that a new year would come. Are we really not paying? Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao returned to the Amen. They first settled down the children they had picked up and then sat in Yan Zheng's study to discuss matters. We are not paying. Since Xiao Bei said that she would pay in advance, we must use their pocket money. When we return to the capital, they will ask Li Longji for it. If Li Longji does not give it to them, then they will pay the bill themselves. Zhang Xiaobao respected the decision of his younger brothers and sisters. Wang Wan saw Zhang Xiaobao's serious look and helplessly shook her head. Then they will probably lose all their money. I don't know when they will be able to earn back the millions of strings of coins. Zhang Xiaobao also knew how much pocket money his younger brothers and sisters had. They were rewarded when they did well in their studies and gave gifts during festivals. They were also the image ambassadors of Luer's business group. When they made new snacks and toys at home, they felt that they could earn money. They also invested in opening a shop, wrote all kinds of children's songs, printed them into books, and sold them to families with children and those who were about to have children. They gave half of the royalties to their brothers and sisters. They even rented a space to the left of Chang and Top Scholar's restaurant and hired 2 chefs to specially make soft and sweet children's meals. They did not pay any less than they should, and they even took advantage of Top Scholar's restaurant's loophole. The manager of Top Scholar's restaurant would never have dreamed that a place that sold children's meals could earn so much money. He sighed in amazement at the magic of the owner. This was because the advertisement said, "Top Scholar starts with children." Just like that, Xiao Bei and the others saved up less than 1.3 million strings of coins. According to the terms of the compensation, it was estimated that they would be able to empty it all in one go. When the sun set and rose, a new day had arrived. The children in Old Willow Village began to work hard under the sun after the haze passed. The plan to grow a doll that belonged to oneself had entered the production phase. Looking at the prototype of the doll being produced one by one, besides the seriousness on Xiao Bei's face, there was also a hint of reluctance. Xiao Yuan and the others also buried their heads in work. Last night, they had received news from their brother and sister, allowing them to use their own pocket money to pay for it. They had also estimated the size of the expenditure and found that it was about the same as their reserves. Xiao Bei carefully pressed the grass seeds into the doll, added some sawdust and rice husks, and then pressed a new layer of grass seeds. He appeared very sincere. As he pressed the seeds, he spoke to Xiao Yuan. "It's over. We've become the proletariat that brother and sister talked about. If we go back to Chang and ask Uncle Emperor for money, and he doesn't give us, we'll have to foot the bill." Xiao Yuan was also in low spirits. Money. As a child, was it easy to earn money? At the same time, he felt sullen in his heart. What do you think this is? Not only did they trick us to come here, but they also want us to pay for it. They really know how to choose people. In the entire Great Tang, there are tens of thousands of children, but we're the only ones who can afford this. How are we going to live in the future? In fact, we haven't used that money, but why do I still feel bad? Xiao Bei thought for a while and found this problem. More than 1 million strings of pocket money in the bank seemed to have no effect on the 9 of them, but they just couldn't feel happy. After Xiaohai, who was in charge of the overall planning, sorted out the data, he came over and said, "Do it quickly. If we don't have enough money, we can ship this batch to the capital and sell it. The use of money for us is in the present. When we want to make our own decisions, we can take out the money. But this time, we took out too much. We don't have money now. If we run into trouble again, we can't take it out even if we want to. After we showed our autonomy once, we lost the opportunity to show our autonomy again. That's why we feel bad. In the near future, we'd better think of ways to make more money. Xiao Hai's analysis made Xiao Bei and the others understand. When they had money, they could be self-righteous. They didn't need to discuss with their elders, and they didn't need to care about other people's feelings. But this time, they were too self-righteous. They didn't know how long it would take for them to save up for the next time. Xiao Bei was in low spirits as he was loading the grass seeds. He accidentally pricked his finger by a rice husk. He lowered his head and put his finger in his mouth, sulking. After a while, he looked up and said, "I found something." The other 8 people looked at him. "We are here to patrol Hongnong County. Because of Yan Zheng, Hongnong County suffered a disaster. He got a lot of money himself, but the people lost money. Then why are we only responsible for giving money to the people and not raiding his house? Who else is colluding with him?" "Colluding with him," Xiao Yuan said. "You understand, don't you?" "Why?" Xiao Bei was fuming. The other 8 people suddenly understood. They were here to patrol, not to distribute money. Even if they were asked to spend money, they would spend it. But the result was the same, but the purpose was different. Spending money was just spending money, while patrolling had its own way of saying it. That is to say, our rights and obligations are not proportional. We have to do something. Zhang Hu, who was relatively the oldest child, spoke up. Xiao Bei regained his spirit and said, "Yes, we have to continue arresting people. This is our right. Even if it's our brothers and sisters, they can't take it away. Even if the people we catch can't spit out a single copper coin, it's still our right. Now I feel much better. Let's arrest people." The others were also happy. They began to divide the work and arrange for the investigation and arrest. The younger children working around them only knew that they had taken out money. They did not have a concrete idea, but the older children, who were close to 12 years old, understood. They knew that the 9 children in front of them, who were younger than them, had taken out more than 1,000,000 strings of cash and spent it all on their hometown. 1,000,000 strings of cash was not a concrete idea for the children in their teens, but they knew that if they had more than 100 copper coins and it was all gone one day, they would cry to death. But from the 9 children's words, they did not care about how much money was spent, but how the money was spent. After figuring out the reason, the 1,000,000 strings of cash did not seem to be that important. The older children could not understand, but they understood that they could not be compared to the children of the Zhang family and the Wang family. When they were sad about losing some money, the others were thinking about something else. The adults of the seedling protection team also listened from the side. When they heard what their young masters were talking about, a knowing smile appeared on their faces. These were the children of the main family. No one could compare to them. They did not ask about the amount of money, but only how to use it. Xiao Bei and the others were busy arranging for people to catch the bad guys. They wanted to find a psychological balance. However, before they could take the initiative to find others, someone came to find them first. 3 people came over from the iron chain bridge that had been paved with boards. They left 3 horses on the opposite side. Obviously, they were afraid that the horses would fall off the bridge. One of the 3 people was carrying a knife. Xiao Bei and the others immediately recognized that it was a halberd, or what the Japanese called a halberd. They remembered it so clearly because their older brother had once said that in the future, many ethnic groups who might promote civilized eating with knives were still using their hands to catch food, but they did not know that they had long had knives. Therefore, they should not argue with them about food culture, because they were not worthy. Therefore, Xiao Bei and the others, who were proud of their ethnic food culture, guessed the identity of the other party. There was at least one Japanese. Chapter 936. The sky was clear, the ground was muddy, and the sound of running water could be heard. The 9 people stopped their work and stared at the faces of the 3 people who came later. At this time, the 9 people were more hostile to the Japanese. After all, the Japanese had made a mess of buying and selling goods at the dock in South Henan province. The 9 people hated that the officials of the Tang Empire could not resist the temptation and complained about the treachery of the Japanese. As for the strategy of subjugating Japan, it was not treachery, but wisdom. The Japanese, with the sword on the opposite side, naturally did not accidentally come here after getting lost. When he found that the 9 children were all here, his eyes lit up and then he wanted to get close. Unfortunately, this wish could not be realized for the time being. Who are you? Stop. When the Japanese man was about 50 steps away from Zhang Xiaobei, he was stopped. In the blink of an eye, he could no longer see Zhang Xiaobei and the rest of the 9 people. The place between him and Zhang Xiaobei was occupied by the seedling protection team. The Japanese was surprised for a moment. Then he straightened his chest and said, "I want to go there. Speak to them." Speak human language. The person who stopped the Japanese frowned and sneered. "You want to see my master, so I have to make way for you." Only then did the Japanese realize that it was not so easy to see Zhang Bei and the others who were playing with a group of children just now. He had to look at the person who stopped him and explained, "I have something important to do. If it's delayed because of you, then it's fine if it's delayed. It doesn't matter to me whether your business is important or not. What's important is whether our business is important or not. Now, do you understand which is the most important?" The person who stopped him said a tongue twister, which made the Japanese swallow his saliva. I know. Shuichiro Watanabe has something important to ask to see Lord Zhang." The Japanese finally bowed his head because he understood that if he wanted to deceive children, he had to go through the adults first. Wait. The person who stopped him still had a cold face and asked him to stand where he was. He turned around and walked slowly to Zhang Bei. "Miss Zhang Bei, the Japanese Shuichiro Watanabe wants to see you." Zhang Bei turned to look at the other 8 people, and the 8 people gave her a look of "you can decide." "I got it. I have some matters to attend to, so I'll bring him over in an hour." Go ahead." Xiao Bei put on airs. The children who were playing with them curiously looked at the Japanese. One of the older ones asked Xiao Bei, "What's bothering you?" "I'm not done with my doll yet." "Wait until I'm done with the doll in my hands. I'll see him after I change my clothes." Xiao Bei pointed at the doll she had made. "Then it's not good to let people continue to wait, right?" The child muttered softly. "Why not? Am I someone that anyone can see whenever they want to? I'm an official, a 3rd-rank official of the imperial court. If I didn't want to know why he came here, he wouldn't see me even if I exhausted him to death. Later, I'll put on my official uniform and let you see. It's a pity that you can't wear it. Otherwise, I'll give you one." At this moment, Xiao Bei knew how to show off his identity. He even introduced himself to the others by gesturing. "Well, does it look good?" The muttering child asked longingly. "Purple, embroidered with a big flower, the kind with branches and leaves. Let me tell you a secret. In fact, I can't have flowers with branches and leaves on my clothes. That's the 2nd-rank official's clothes. But I like it, so I asked someone to embroider one." "Who asked Uncle Emperor not to give me official robes?" "Let me tell you, you must not tell other people. Uncle Emperor is very stingy. He never gives anything to my family. Even if he does give something once, he will take it back several times. Last time, when he treated me to a meal, I ate his 4-headed abalone. The next day, he asked my brother for a pair of heavenly 9 shark fins. That big shark fin is enough for me to eat for half a month. Fortunately, my family has many ships at sea. Do you think it's easy for me?" Xiao Bei began to speak ill of Li Longji. The child nodded fiercely, expressing deep sympathy. Although she didn't know what a 4-headed abalone was, she could understand. Eating for half a month was more expensive than eating for one meal. Moreover, it was very delicious. She swallowed her saliva and gave an idea. "Next time when he asks you to eat, you don't want to go. If I don't go, he will definitely ask for it. I just remembered that we are far from the sea, so we can't eat the local products of the sea. I will ask someone to bring more and invite everyone to eat together. Let me tell you first, there are no 4-headed abalone. There are too many people. I will ask my brother later. If there is no other choice, I will ask him to make it smaller. But at least there should be 12 heads. I will leave more seaweed for you to eat and play with. It's kunbu. There is also seaweed. It's cheap. My family grows it in Jili province. After the fall imperial examination, go back to Jili province with my brother. I will ask someone to bring you beautiful shells. Xiao Bei suddenly remembered that the people around her might not be able to eat such good food, so she wanted to invite everyone to try it. But she was afraid of hurting people's self-esteem, so she said that the good food was local products. The child was a little embarrassed, but she couldn't resist the temptation, so she nodded. Well, we will also invite you to eat mushrooms. It's a promise. Xiao Bei stretched out her little finger and hooked it with the other party. Compared to Xiao Bei, who had important matters to attend to, Shuichiro Watanabe felt that the days were like years. He anxiously looked at his shadow on the ground, as if it hadn't moved at all. He looked forward to the stars and the moon. Finally, an hour had passed. Just as he was about to speak, the person who had stopped him spoke first. Stand still and don't move. Search him. Shuichiro Watanabe really didn't dare to move. He let the others take away his katana and touch him from top to bottom. Finally, he opened his mouth and let them look at his teeth. It was as if they were picking animals. Reporting to Xiao Bei, the Japanese Shuichiro Watanabe requests an audience. After searching Shuichiro Watanabe's body, the people of the Miao protection team shouted toward Xiao Bei. Xiao Bei had already changed her clothes at this moment. She found a mat made of willow branches and leaned on it. She said indifferently, "Pass." The child next to her suddenly realized that the current Xiao Bei was different from before. Just now, she was laughing and joking like the sister or sister next door. Why did Xiao Bei look so strange now? The expression on her face was different, her voice was different, and even the posture of leaning on the mat had changed. It was as if the sticky rice cake had turned into a cold stone, making people not dare to get close to her. The other 8 people's expressions looked the same. Shuichiro Watanabe felt the pressure and carefully moved forward. When he was 10 steps away, someone next to him stopped him again. "Answer here. Lower your head. Don't look around." The mat Xiao Bei was sitting on was higher. She had a sense of condescension. Her eyelids drooped, and her voice squeezed out from her throat. "Who's down there?" Shuichiro Watanabe wanted to curse. "You little brat, didn't you hear me just now? Why are you still asking?" Although he thought about it, he didn't dare to say it. He couldn't even change his expression. He lowered his head and said respectfully, "I'm Shuichiro Watanabe from Japan. I have something important to discuss with you." Xiao Bei dragged out the sound with her nose. Her eyes were puzzled. She looked at the person next to her. "Japan?" Replying to Miss Xiao Bei, Japan is a country. Originally, people lived on islands. From Jili Prefecture, Hunan Province, or Shenandoah, you can reach there after a month. Different ships have different distances, and the time taken is slightly different. Someone next to her introduced. Shuichiro Watanabe listened below, and his lungs almost exploded. He didn't believe that Xiao Bei didn't even know Japan. She was clearly mocking him. Xiao Bei's eyelids continued to droop. "Oh, a remote island country? Do you have any education? Are you knowledgeable and well-mannered?" Yes, I think so." The person who introduced her just now said vaguely. Shuichiro Watanabe understood. Xiao Bei was finding fault with him, saying that he didn't show proper etiquette. He also knew that he should change his address and etiquette. After all, Japan was now a vassal country of the Tang Empire in name. When he met a Tang official, he should show proper etiquette. But Watanabe Jichiro felt awkward. It was really embarrassing for an adult like him to lower his voice in front of a child. It was not like he was facing Zhang Xiaobao. Even if he was not that old, he was an existence that was above the top-ranking list of billionaires. What did Zhang Xiaobao have to do? Wasn't it because she had a good brother and sister? After a few breaths, considering that he had something important to do, Shuichiro Watanabe finally knelt down helplessly and said, "Foreigner Shuichiro Watanabe greets the inspector." "Shuichiro Watanabe? This name is not good. Fine, I'm magnanimous and don't want to pursue it. Raise your head. Xiao Bei did not have any idea of showing the demeanor of a big country. It was not easy to find a Japanese person who could be bullied by her. With the purpose of satisfying her cravings, she used her identity to suppress people. Shuichiro Watanabe regretted it in his heart. If he had known earlier, he would not have rushed to come here. Originally, he had planned to trick her and immediately go back to show off. Now, he had lost face first. Of course, if the other party was an adult or a third-grade official of the Tang Empire, it would not be a loss of face. It was normal for status to be unequal. The problem was that the other party was a little kid. It was really frustrating. Shuichiro Watanabe, who was competing with himself, slowly raised his head. He did not dare to raise it too quickly, for fear of being misunderstood as wanting to harm Xiao Bei. When he raised his head and saw Xiao Bei, Shuichiro Watanabe took a deep breath. Shuichiro Watanabe, who had never seen Xiao Bei's 9 people, had already imagined what they looked like before. When he was far away, he had a little impression of them. At that time, he felt very normal, like the children next door, playing with other children there. However, at this moment, the other party had changed clothes. When he looked at them closely, they became different. The first was an aura of wealth and wealth. He saw the 9 children wearing purple robes with tassels hanging on the sides, gold on the boots, jade on the waists, 6 gold coins on the left, tortoiseshell on the inside, 7 jade carvings on the right, and precious pearls in the middle. The robes were dark, and there was no horizontal or vertical division. There were clusters of flowers on the robes, and the branches were crystal clear. The men were crowned with a crown, and the women were like phoenixes and birds. The jade bracelets on their wrists were as red as blood, and the neck was filled with the fragrance of agarwood. If Shuichiro Watanabe had come from the same place as Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, he would have shouted, F***CK. So, F***King Rich. Fortunately, Shuichiro Watanabe was kneeling on the ground. Otherwise, he would have been smashed to the ground by the power of money on Xiao Bei's 9 people. When he took a closer look, Shuichiro Watanabe was stunned by Xiao Bei's appearance. There was a reason why people liked Xiao Bei. Shuichiro Watanabe deeply felt a kind of indescribable and endless cuteness. Xiao Bei did not use any cosmetics, even though her family's cosmetic store was popular in the Tang Empire. It was not that cosmetics were harmful to the human body. Her cosmetics were all pure natural products. It was just that she did not use cosmetics. In Shuichiro Watanabe's eyes, Xiao Bei's cheeks were as soft as water, her lips were red, her teeth were white, her nose was straight, her forehead was slightly raised, and her eyes were bright and beautiful. She was so pure. If he did not know that he would be killed on the spot if he made any other unnecessary movements, Shuichiro Watanabe really wanted to rush up, hug Xiao Bei, and kiss her. She was really too cute. If he had a daughter like her, he would definitely hide it well. God, you are so unfair. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan are already so powerful. Why did you give them such a sister? Shuichiro Watanabe cursed in his heart. He finally understood why people said that Xiao Bei's 9 children could be doted on by the Tang Emperor. It was said that any official who was caught by the 9 children would be demoted 3 ranks, regardless of whether they were really guilty or not. If they angered them, even if they were innocent, they would be demoted 3 ranks. Regardless of whether it was the Tang Emperor or himself, he would make such a decision. How could such cute children be wrong? Why didn't they find trouble with others? Why did they have to find trouble with you? When Shuichiro Watanabe thought about it, he also realized that the 9 children's clothes were not in line with the Tang Empire's official regulations. If it were someone else, they could be used as blackmail. If you don't agree to anything, I will find a way to report you, especially Xiao Bei. If you dare to wear a phoenix coronet, the lightest punishment is to lose your head. But Shuichiro Watanabe knew very well that reporting Xiao Bei's 9 children was useless. If he really tried to find a way to report it, once he reported it, the first one to be arrested would be him. For a moment, Shuichiro Watanabe's heart was filled with mixed feelings. His eyes swept over Xiao Bei's 9 children. His mouth was slightly open, and he did not know what to say. Compared to Shuichiro Watanabe's many thoughts, Willow Village and the children who were brought here did not have so many thoughts. They only felt that Xiao Bei's 9 children had changed and become more beautiful, especially the girls. Their clothes were really beautiful. Unfortunately, Xiao Bei said that they could not wear them. Chapter 937. Watanabe Jichiro, your name is too long and doesn't sound nice. I'll give you a name, Bien-e. It sounds nice and nice. While Watanabe Jichiro was looking at Xiao Bei spoke. She changed his name as soon as she opened her mouth. Her tone didn't allow anyone to refute. Before Watanabe Jichiro could agree, Xiao Bei spoke again. Bien-e, why do you want to see me? Watanabe Jichiro felt wronged. He wanted to argue that his name couldn't be changed, but he was afraid that the little girl in front of him would order someone to cut off his head in anger. It was not strange for a child to do anything. Watanabe Jichiro endured it. After all, the other party had power and influence. He thought about what he had planned before he came and said, Lord Zhang, this foreigner has a few questions. Can you tell me? Xiao Bei heard Watanabe Jichiro's words and waited for a while before speaking. Her words almost made Watanabe Jichiro vomit blood. Xiao Bei asked kindly, Bien-e, do you want to grow a doll that belongs to you? I have materials here that can be sold to you at a low price. You can take them back and sell them in Japan. I'll guarantee your wealth. You want to buy my things? Watanabe Jichiro saw that Xiao Bei didn't follow his words. He hesitated and asked, What doll? How much is it? Grow a doll that belongs to you. Others farm, we grow dolls. That's it. Someone, bring me the dolls made by the villagers of Willow Village. Xiao Bei was still sitting in a dignified manner. She waved her hand and winked at the people beside her. The people in the inner courtyard understood what to do. They walked over to one of the children in Willow Village and explained in a very gentle voice, Xiao Bei is now an official. She's putting on an act for Watanabe Jichiro. She said that you're villagers, but in fact, she's protecting you. She doesn't want Watanabe Jichiro to use you as a hostage. Xiao Bei will help you sell your dolls at a sky-high price. The child who was asked for a doll by the person from the inner courtyard nodded vigorously and handed over the doll in her hand. Only after the person from the inner courtyard left did she reveal a smile. Just now, when she heard Xiao Bei say lowly commoner, she felt that the entire world had turned cold. Just now, she had even made a pinky promise with him. Why did it suddenly become so distant? So it was just an act for the Japanese. Xiao Bei had not changed. It was still Xiao Bei. I told you. Xiao Bei is pretending. The girl whispered to the child next to her. So the words of the inner courtyard quickly spread among the children, but Shuichiro Watanabe couldn't hear it. Watanabe Jichiro only saw Zhang Xiaobei smiling sweetly at the surrounding people, which made him feel that Zhang Xiaobei was even cuter. The 2 shallow dimples set off Zhang Xiaobei's mischievous and innocent look. One of the older children sighed and said, It's not easy to be an official, especially a good official like Xiao Bei. No wonder Grandpa Muramesa's attitude toward Xiao Bei is different. Yes, I saw it too. Grandpa Muramesa is a high scholar. He doesn't like other officials. When Xiao Bei came, Grandpa Muramesa changed. He was even willing to go to the county to help. Sister Luya, when Xiao Bei came, didn't her subordinates feel uncomfortable lying on the iron chain? A boy who was slightly younger than the girl who spoke earlier, about 11 years old, asked. He actually liked Xiao Bei very much and wanted to play with her. It would be even better if they could play together every day. If he could marry Xiao Bei when he grew up, he would be willing to do anything. Unfortunately, he also knew that it was impossible. It was said that Xiao Bei's future husband was Wang Xiaoyuan, a boy who could read 10 lines at a glance and remember everything he saw. Most importantly, he was Wang Wan's younger brother. Whoever dared to steal his wife was really tired of living. The girl who spoke earlier did not know what the boy next to her was thinking. She said, "It should be uncomfortable, but they are the Miao protection team. They are the personal guards of the Zhang family and Wang family in Sanshui County. I heard that they are the most powerful team in Tang Empire. They are Sister Cuckoo's last trump card." What is that saying again? Oh, yes, once the order is given, their hearts will be like iron. When soldiers are deployed, blood will be spilled. A few children nearby shouted in unison. This was the most popular saying among the people. Not only did the children who went to school know, even the adults could say a few words. The whole saying was, "The sea is boundless, the tide rises and falls. Cuckoo's gunboats break through the waves, forming a majestic formation. The grassland is tender in spring and snow in winter. The arrows are like shuttles, the goshawks soar, the balloons are many, covering the sky and competing with the clouds. The desert is gray, the years are hard to judge. Looking back at home, the moon in the sky, the enemies are endless, the banners are endless, and the demons are smiling. Who is in the Ming Dynasty, and who is in the yesterday?" The Green Hills sound the military song. Once the order is given, their hearts will be like iron. When soldiers are deployed, blood will be spilled. Yes, yes. The boy nodded and replied, "Someone is going to die. I heard from Sister Xiaobei that this time, 2 reinforced subway cavalry battalions were dispatched. Sister Cuckoo sent the soldiers here. It's definitely not a joke. Someone is going to die." Shuichiro Watanabe also heard the children shouting, "When soldiers are deployed, blood will be spilled." He couldn't help but tremble. He looked at the doll that Xiaobei asked someone to bring in front of him and asked carefully, "Lord Zhang, what is this thing like?" "Water." Xiaobei said these 2 words with certainty, meaning that she was not lying. "Then how much is it?" Shuichiro Watanabe could see that Xiaobei wanted to earn some pocket money. 1,000 strings of cash. Xiaobei stretched out a finger. "How much?" Shuichiro Watanabe shouted and quickly covered his mouth. He was afraid that he would scare Xiaobei, so he lowered his voice. "This thing is worth 1,000 strings of cash." Xiaobei stared at her big eyes. Wei Wei nodded. "Is it not worth it? My hand was cut when I made it." While speaking, Xiaobei showed the finger to Shuichiro Watanabe. Her small mouth twitched and her eyes were misty. It really did hurt. Shuichiro Watanabe saw Xiaobei's expression and felt a pain in his heart. He looked at the doll, again, and felt that 1,000 strings of cash was really not expensive. This was made by Xiaobei herself, and her hand was cut. "Then how much do you think it's worth?" Xiaobei didn't know what Shuichiro Watanabe was thinking and asked. "At least 3,000 strings of cash." Shuichiro Watanabe stretched out 3 fingers. In an instant, he felt absent-minded. It was as if his daughter had made a doll for him and cut her hand. He had an idea in his heart. Not to mention 1,000 strings of cash. If he could reach the stars, he could pick the stars and give them to his daughter. Xiaobei didn't know how charming her appearance and expression were. When she heard Shuichiro Watanabe say 3,000 strings of cash, she smiled. "I'll sell it to you. Now I have the money for the cement for the road in the village. I originally planned to return to the capital and sell it to Uncle Emperor. Once I get the money, we'll be even." Shuichiro Watanabe stretched out his hand and took out the money. He admitted defeat. Who asked him to say 3,000 strings of cash? He could imagine the consequences if he didn't buy the doll after saying the price. He counted 6 pieces of Tang banknotes with the words, "worth 500 strings of cash," written on them, and handed them to the people next to him. He held the doll tightly in his hand, thinking that he had to plan it properly when he went back. If he didn't turn the world upside down, it would be a waste of the money. The children were shocked. 3,000 strings of cash. They wouldn't be able to earn one in a lifetime. Xiaobei was indeed Xiaobei. Xiaobei took the money and carefully verified it. It was real. Then she handed it to her brother Xiaohai and asked him to keep it. She turned her head and asked Shuichiro Watanabe, "Foreigner Shuichiro Watanabe, what did you want to say to this official just now?" Shuichiro Watanabe didn't expect that Xiaobei would become this official in the blink of an eye. The speed at which she changed her attitude was extraordinarily fast. Shuichiro Watanabe touched the money in his pocket for the activities. He suppressed the other thoughts in his heart and began to deceive the children according to his plan. Lord Zhang. Shuichiro Watanabe took a deep breath and said, Xiaobei's eyelids drooped again. There's one thing that this foreigner doesn't understand. Please tell me. I heard that the regional commander Lord Zhang has always been advocating economic matters. Political matters are political matters, and military matters are military matters. However, this time he has brought the army here. Isn't it already under the control of military and political matters? Shuichiro Watanabe knew that Xiaobei could understand. He wanted to see how Xiaobei would answer so that he could continue to trick her. Xiaobei did understand what he meant, but she didn't understand the thoughts of her brother and sister. She couldn't say it casually and leave a topic for others to talk about. She was now representing the reputation of the Tang Empire. A few children who also heard it clearly became anxious, afraid that Xiaobei wouldn't say it. Only the 8 of them were not worried. They believed that Xiaobei could handle it. Sure enough, Xiaobei rolled her eyes and pretended to cough. She said, "We have always emphasized that we should do our own things and work tirelessly for it. As everyone knows, our dynasty has achieved gratifying results in economic, political, and military matters. Regarding this, our dynasty is willing to persist and consolidate." When Shuichiro Watanabe heard Xiaobei's words, he felt very awkward. It was different from the answer he wanted to get. After thinking for a while, he asked, "But now you are not doing your own things. Why is that?" "I have already answered this question. I will repeat it again. Our dynasty has never changed its original intention of development and progress. We have never changed our coordination work in all aspects. I believe that we will do better in the future." Xiaobei had a sincere expression. Okay. Shuichiro Watanabe gave up on this question and changed to another one, intending to sow discord. "Lord Zhang, as far as outsiders know, Xinluo, which is adjacent to the Tang Empire, is now unable to escape the control of the Tang Empire. The control I am talking about is not the control of the Tang Empire, but the people's livelihood. The Tang Empire has taken over Xinluo's land and planted by Dizi. Xinluo has no food. As long as the Tang Empire stops eating, Xinluo will be full of hungry people. Does this go against the original intention of your cooperation with Xinluo? Or was the Tang Empire's original plan?" After Shuichiro Watanabe finished asking, his eyes were fixed on Xiaobei. He didn't believe that a little brat could not make a mistake. Xiaobei's eyes moved left and right. She was trying hard to recall the words of her brother and sister when they were arguing. Her brother liked to pretend to be righteous when he was cheating others, and her sister always laughed. The passage of time seemed to have suddenly slowed down. Xiaobei thought for more than 10 breaths, but it gave people a feeling that more than an hour had passed. Finally, Xiaobei's gaze landed on Shuichiro Watanabe again. Her small hands retracted into her sleeves and clenched into fists. She encouraged herself in her heart. The smart Xiaobei can do better. Xiaobei is a third-rank official. I can go to Hanyuan Palace to participate in the court session. I can't embarrass the Tang Empire. After hinting to herself, Xiaobei's eyes were filled with confidence. She coughed again and said to Shuichiro Watanabe, "The Tang Empire and Xinluo have a close relationship. They are harmonious neighbors. The people of the Tang Empire are great people, and the people of Xinluo are great people. The two great countries with great people have always lived in harmony. In recent years, the Tang Empire and Xinluo have carried out more cooperation projects and achieved gratifying results. The two countries help and promote each other. They have worked together many times in the fields of economy, military, politics, and so on. The friendship between the people of the two countries has also strengthened through cooperation. We have to believe that with the concerted efforts of the people of the two countries and the royal family, the future will be better. A new chapter is being written." As soon as Xiaobei said this, everyone was shocked. The 8 people of Xiao Yuan had an expression of, "I knew Xiao Bei could do it." The inner courtyard of the Zhang family and Wang family puffed up their chests even more. The other children's eyes were filled with stars. Shuichiro Watanabe was stunned. In the past, people said that the children of the Zhang family and Wang family were powerful, but he didn't believe it. At this moment, he was completely convinced. Who taught such a monster? Compared to this little girl in front of him, the other children should jump into the river. Shuichiro, are there any other questions? Xiao Bei, who had won, asked happily. Shuichiro Watanabe shook his head helplessly, indicating that there were no more questions. If Xiao Bei's answer was not good, he would continue to ask. But now he saw that it was useless to ask. Xiao Bei had mastered the legendary essence of diplomatic speech. There were probably not many people in the Tang Empire who could compare to her. After all, everyone was not used to speaking like this. For a moment, Shuichiro Watanabe looked at Xiao Bei in a daze. Why was this girl so likable? She was really cute, smart, and witty. In a daze, Shuichiro Watanabe was about to get up and hug Xiao Bei and kiss her. Just as he moved, he heard a shout, "Don't move. If you move again, you'll die." Shuichiro Watanabe suddenly woke up and looked around. The people of the protection team were all vigilant. Only the 2 people standing next to Xiao Bei gave him a relaxed feeling. However, it was these 2 people who gave Watanabe Jichiro the most pressure. He was 10 steps away from Zhang Xiaobei. He was confident that when he did something unfavorable to Zhang Xiaobei, the people behind him and on his left and right could not stop him. 10 steps was too close for him, so close that it would not even take a breath of time. But for some reason, the 2 people standing next to Xiaobei gave him a feeling that if he dared to move, he would die immediately. Suppressing the impulse, Shuichiro Watanabe narrowed his eyes and looked at the 2 people next to Xiaobei. Finally, he found something different. The 2 people wore thick leather gloves on their left hands. Others had long guns and 2 short guns. But these 2 people only had 1 short gun. Others put their short guns on their waists. But these 2 people put their guns in the holsters on their legs. The other people's guns gave people a feeling of smoothness. But these 2 people's guns had half a circle on both sides. What does it mean? Shuichiro Watanabe thought to himself. Xiao Bei, who was sitting on top, did not care about Shuichiro Watanabe's actions at all. She seemed very indifferent. She knew that Shuichiro Watanabe could not hurt her at all. The distance of 10 steps and the 2 people next to her was like the distance between heaven and earth. It was a gap that life could not cross. Seeing Shuichiro Watanabe in a daze, Wei Wei smiled and said, "Let the outsider see." Xiao Yuan took out a coin with the word Wu on it, representing 5 coins. She flicked her finger. Ding. The coin flipped and flew up into the sky with a long sound. Shuichiro Watanabe understood that the other party was going to use a gun to hit the coin. He immediately looked at the coin in the sky from the corner of his eyes, while staring at the gun on the leg of the person who took a step to the left of Xiaobei. When the coin reflected the sunlight and fell, only a bang sound was heard. The coin disappeared from Shuichiro Watanabe's eyes. His eyes widened and stared at the gun on the leg of the person, unable to hide his shock. After a while, Shuichiro Watanabe reacted and asked loudly in disbelief, "How did you fire the gun?" If the coin in the sky had not disappeared, and if it had not been for the wisp of smoke floating up from the leg of the person, he would have thought that the other party had not moved at all. You don't have to worry about that. Xiao Bei smiled beautifully. Xiao Yuan's 8 children also looked mysterious. Only they knew the abilities of these 2 people. They were the last step that their brother and sister had sent to protect them. The 2 of them were using handmade revolvers. Only after forging thousands of revolvers could one be chosen, and the 2 of them were 1 in a million. Their brother and sister said that the reaction time of the 2 people was estimated to be 0. 1 second. This was the time to react when something happened. Then they would fire the gun and use their hands to push the firing pin. This speed was a little faster than their brother and sister's own speed, so it was estimated to be 0. 3 second. Because their sister said that their brother's speed was 0 for second and hers was 0. 5 second. In other words, the fastest speed was from the time the two people discovered danger and chose to fire the gun without pressure. The total time to fire the gun and retract the gun was 0. 13 second. The so-called no pressure meant that they did not have to consider whether the person they were shooting was really going to harm the person they were protecting, nor did they have to consider the identity of the person they were shooting. In the middle of this, the second judgment time was omitted, and this time was very precious. It was usually 0. 3 to 0 for second. So there was no need to be afraid of Shuichiro Watanabe's sudden attack. The distance of 10 steps was more than 10 meters. Even if they kneeled on the ground and started to squat at the fastest speed and ran another 10 meters, it would be completed in 1 second. Such a long time was enough for the two people to make a second judgment. How could Shuichiro Watanabe know so much scientific basis? He only knew that he could not see clearly how the other person fired the gun. There seemed to be a flash of light, but it did not seem to be. How could it be? After showing off, Xiaobei happily said to Shuichiro Watanabe, "If there's nothing else, you can leave." "Leave? I can't leave. If I leave, wouldn't I have come here for nothing?" Shuichiro Watanabe thought and obediently knelt. He really did not want to see smoke rise around the person and die. After kneeling again, Shuichiro Watanabe found that his knee did not seem to hurt as much. It was very magical. "Lord Zhang, this foreigner has one more thing to say." Shuichiro Watanabe somewhat understood the grievance of the Tubo people when they were killed by Wang Wan. "Quickly say it." Xiaobei, who had relaxed, took out a big hazelnut that was fried with sugar and put it in her mouth with a kacha sound. After spitting out the shell, she ate it happily. Watanabe Jichiro saw that Zhang Xiaobei was enjoying the food and swallowed his saliva. He knew that the food that Zhang Xiaobei and the other children ate was not ordinary, especially snacks. It was very likely that even the emperor of the Tang Empire could not eat what they ate. Shuichiro Watanabe gently shook his head and threw away this irrelevant thought. He decided to do something practical. "Lord Zhang, in fact, it is nothing more than money. As long as you can let go of the cargo ships in the coastal Japan, I will give you this amount." Shuichiro Watanabe raised a finger. It was the index finger, not the middle finger. Otherwise, Xiaobei would take out her small pistol and shoot him personally. It was not powerful, but a few shots could kill him. When Xiaobei saw Shuichiro Watanabe's finger, she could no longer calm down. Her breathing became rapid, and her face was slightly red. She rubbed her hands together and said shyly, "Really? If you give me 100 million strings of cash, I will find a way to help you persuade my brother and sister not to trouble you Japanese. But our officials still need to be dealt with. Xiao Yuan, what do you say?" Xiao Yuan could not continue to remain calm. She did not want to change her original intention because of money, but she was reluctant to part with the money. It was very difficult. In the end, she gritted her teeth and said, "Once you get 100 million strings of cash, I will help you talk to them. I guarantee that there will be no problem. Your Japanese lives and goods will not be taken away." Shuichiro Watanabe was already confused when Xiaobei said 100 million strings of cash. When he heard Xiao Yuan's words, he wanted to tell the other party that if you give me 100 million strings of cash, I will give up both the goods and my life. "It's not 100 million strings of cash." "Then how much? 10 million strings of cash?" "Okay, 10 million strings of cash it is. I can promise not to capture your people and goods. At least, if I don't do anything, your people will be safe." Xiaobei was a little disappointed. After some calculations, 10 million strings of cash was 10 billion pennies. This amount was still acceptable, so she reluctantly accepted it. "It's not 10 million strings of cash either." Shuichiro Watanabe's voice was very low. "Say it. How much?" Xiaobei was impatient. 10% of the shares. 10%? How much did you make last year? Xiaobei asked. 3 million strings of cash. There's copper, sulfur, silver, and a large number of very precious marine products. In fact, we basically sell all of Japan's goods. Shuichiro Watanabe reported the amount of money. Xiaobei's expression turned uglier as she listened to Shuichiro Watanabe's words. Although she looked very cute no matter what expression she had, her anger was still clear. By the time Shuichiro Watanabe finished speaking, Xiaobei's face had already turned as cold as ice. Her beautiful face became more dignified, and her large eyes didn't blink. Her long eyelashes curled up as she stared at Shuichiro Watanabe. It wasn't until Shuichiro Watanabe felt guilty that Xiaobei slapped the armrest of the chair and angrily asked, "That is to say, in terms of gross profit, the most you'll give us is only 300,000 strings of cash. Right, 300,000 strings of cash is quite a lot. How much does my Japan's annual revenue amount? And this is because the Tang Empire is rich. In the past, my Japan wouldn't even receive 3 million strings of cash in a year." Shuichiro Watanabe defended himself. Xiaobei forcefully pursed her lips. "You're insulting us. You're insulting us. Do you know how much pocket money we took out for Hongnong County this time? More than 3 million strings of cash. Fixing roads, fixing riverbanks, compensating people for their losses, building shops, and everything else doesn't cost money. You're using 300,000 strings of cash to send beggars away. We trusted you so much. We said we'd help you keep the inventory and people. You used this little bit of money to insult us and hurt our young hearts." Shuichiro Watanabe listened to Xiaobei's words and thought about the meaning behind them. Once again, he regretted it. If he had known this would happen, he wouldn't have come no matter what. Just like what others said, the Zhang family and the Wang family couldn't be bribed. Shuichiro Watanabe was already full of admiration for Li Longji. The Grand Sage understood. No wonder he made the 9 children into high-ranking officials and patrolled the Tang Empire. It wasn't just because the 9 children were monstrously smart. More importantly, he wasn't afraid of others using threats and bribes to deal with the 9 children. Looking at the equipment of the seedling protection team and the special shooting speed of the 2 people, anyone who dared to threaten them would be courting death. Then listen to Xiaobei's words. Just as pocket money alone could take out 3 million strings of cash. 300,000 strings of cash was an insult to him, who wouldn't be afraid of the places they patrolled. The amount of money the officials took was not even enough to bribe the 9 children. Chapter 938. Japanese, Watanabe Jichiro tried to bribe this official. Men, arrest him. While Watanabe Jichiro was thinking about this, Xiaobei, who felt greatly insulted, gave the order to arrest him. Xiaobei was furious. He had thought that it was 100 million strings of cash, but his family couldn't take out 100 million strings of cash. There were only 3 ways to raise it. One was to sell all his family properties, which would give him more than 300 million strings of cash. But that was impossible. What about the military? What about the laboratory? What about the industrial chains in various places? What about his family's house and jewels? The second method was for his brother to use his identity to raise money from all the merchants of the Great Tang. He believed that with his brother's call, let alone 100 million strings of cash, he would be able to raise 1 billion strings of cash. The Great Tang was no longer the same as before, and its productivity was more developed. The third method was for his brother to use the Great Tang Bank. There was a lot of money there, but was that possible? His brother wouldn't touch the Great Tang Bank's money. The Great Tang Bank's loans and investments were all for Uncle Emperor to earn. Other than these 3 methods, even the Great Tang's treasury couldn't take out 100 million strings of cash. Although his family's policies and productivity reforms had made the treasury's income exceed 100 million strings of cash, the treasury's money had to be spent. His brother and sister had even discussed this matter. In any case, he didn't really understand. He only knew that his brother wanted to spend a lot of money on infrastructure, but his sister didn't agree. She said that they couldn't adopt a deficit economic strategy because their productivity wasn't advanced enough, and they didn't plunder enough money. In any case, 100 million strings of cash was a lot. This Watanabe Jichiro had made him happy for nothing. Even 10 million strings of cash would have been fine. He actually dared to lie and say that 10% of the shares would only earn him 300,000 strings of cash a year. He was clearly scolding him, bullying him, because he hadn't seen 300,000 strings of cash before. It was too infuriating. It wasn't right to play with children. It was a crime to bully children. Of course. Xiaobei would never admit that the biggest reason for his anger was that his attitude when he thought it was 100 million strings of cash had been a little embarrassing. In the end, not only did he lose his face, he also lost his money. Watanabe Jichiro didn't know that the high and mighty child in front of him had such thoughts. Seeing Xiaobei turn hostile and arrest him, he immediately panicked. If he was arrested again, what would happen to the goods at the port? That was the hope of the country this year. You can't arrest me. You can't arrest me. I didn't say 100 million strings of cash. It's what you think. Why don't you think about it? Where can I get 100 million strings of cash from in Japan? I can't even take out 10 million strings of cash. Shuichiro Watanabe didn't dare to resist and could only shout, "How dare you ask us to bribe you without 10 million strings of cash? What do you take us for? Push him down and behead him. Stay away from him. Don't let me see any blood." Xiaobei became even angrier when he heard Shuichiro Watanabe mention the previous incident again. Watanabe Jichiro was escorted to the riverside. He didn't want to die in such a cowardly way, so he had to use his last trick. Ha ha ha. He threw his head back and laughed 3 times. When Xiaobei heard the laughter, he felt that the scene was a little familiar. He turned his head and asked Xiao Yuan, "I feel that it's a little familiar. I seem to have seen it somewhere before." In the stories, the Spring and Autumn period, the Warring States period, and the Three Kingdoms period that Big Sister told us about all had such situations. When the envoys were beheaded, they would laugh loudly and survive. Some of them even achieved their goals. As for those who didn't survive, Big Sister said that the stories didn't include them. Xiao Yuan originally wanted to tell all the stories, but when she saw that Shuichiro Watanabe was about to be killed, she was afraid that there wasn't enough time, so she could only make it short. Xiaobei blinked and thought of a plot. Thus, he hurriedly shouted at Shuichiro Watanabe, who was being escorted dozens of steps away, "Why are you laughing?" After shouting, he compared the plot of the stories and felt that there was a discrepancy. He ordered, "Men, bring Shuichiro Watanabe back. I have something to ask him." Just like that, Shuichiro Watanabe returned. "Shuichiro, I ask you, why are you laughing?" Xiaobei blinked and stared at Shuichiro Watanabe. There was a hint of expectation in his expression. Shuichiro Watanabe originally thought that he was going to die, but he didn't expect to be brought back. He felt that his plan had succeeded. He didn't know that if his answer was different from what Xiaobei heard in the story, Xiaobei would be very disappointed and might even kill him. Yes, children's thoughts were often so strange. You couldn't reason with them. This was also why the officials of the Tang Empire were so afraid of Xiaobei. Although Shuichiro Watanabe couldn't guess why Xiaobei put him in the story, he also knew that this was his last chance. He hoped that Xiaobei could be as smart as when he said the legendary diplomatic words before and be able to understand his words. In order to live, Shuichiro Watanabe summoned his courage and looked up fearlessly at Xiaobei. What he saw was Xiaobei's expectant gaze. He didn't know that Xiaobei expected him to follow the plot of the story. If he knew, he might rather hold his breath and suffocate himself to death. After all, it was very sad to associate life and death with the story. He only knew that Xiaobei in front of him was not a child who could be easily deceived as he imagined. He had to treat her seriously. Shuichiro Watanabe quickly organized his thoughts and said, "I laughed at the Tang Empire's officials for being narrow-minded. When 2 countries are at war, it's normal not to kill the envoys. Why not kill the envoys when money is a small matter?" Xiaobei first nodded in agreement with Shuichiro Watanabe's words, and then asked Xiao Yuan in a low voice, that's right. Is it the same as the story?" She understood what Shuichiro Watanabe was trying to say. When two countries are at war, it's normal not to kill the envoys. Would there be a conflict and kill for a little money? Xiao Yuan nodded and said, "It's about the same. Let's listen to him." So Xiaobei asked again, "What about Xiao?" Yu laughed 3 times. Shuichiro Watanabe Weiwei breathed a sigh of relief. With Xiaobei's words, it meant that he could live for the time being. She lowered her head and thought for a moment, then said, Xiao has forgotten the rights of Zhou. We don't teach right or wrong, we only use force. Taking life is nothing more than a nod of the head. How can we seize the will with weapons? Very good, not bad. Xiaobei continued to agree. What Shuichiro Watanabe meant was that she had forgotten the rights of Zhou. It was easy to kill someone, it was just a nod of the head. However, the commander of 3 armies could be seized, but an ordinary man could not seize the will. She could kill him, but could she kill all the Japanese warriors? Xiao Yuan also nodded and said, "Yes, Shuichiro Watanabe, it's really hard for you to know so many things. My army, my Tang Empire's army, does this. Everyone has to be literate. If the general dies, the battalion commander will take over. If the battalion commander dies, the captain will take over. If the captain dies, any soldier will do. It will not affect the intention of the battle. Therefore, it's not scary to seize the commander, but it's scary to lose the morale. My army, my Tang Empire's army, as long as the commander's flag doesn't fall, we will fight to the death and never retreat." Yes, Bienyi, you are really good. Now you are talking about Sanshao? Xiaobei also admitted that Shuichiro Watanabe was right. It was in line with the plot of the story. Shuichiro Watanabe was stunned for a moment. He really did not know that the private armies of the Zhang family and Wang family had reached the point where everyone was literate. What a terrible thing this was. As Wang Xiaoyuan said, if one died, the other would take over. The intention of the battle could be understood. When encountering such an army, unless everyone was killed, there was no way to stop the opponent's tactical arrangement. Then he thought about how he could not manage the army and how to survive the things he faced. Only then did he calm down and said, Sanshao is powerless to manage the general trend. If you don't blame the officials, you blame the distant border. There are thousands of things in the world, but it's difficult for a fly to land on a seamless egg. Oh, Xiaobei nodded again. He said that he could not control the officials of the Tang Empire, but he blamed the distant Japan. If the officials of the Tang Empire could do well, then the Japanese could not do anything. Okay, I won't kill you. It's similar to what you see in the story. Bien-yi, let me ask you something. Have you also heard of the 3 kingdoms that sister told you? Xiaobei was moved by the story and decided to let Shuichiro Watanabe go. Otherwise, if he really killed him, wouldn't it make the story seem unreal? What 3 kingdoms? Shuichiro Watanabe was confused. The romance of the 3 kingdoms. It's much more exciting than the romance of the 3 kingdoms. It's the 3 kingdoms of Cao Cao, Liu Bei, and Sun Quan. As for Wei, Shu, and Wu, in the end, that kid surnamed Sima succeeded. It became the West Jin Dynasty and the East Jin Dynasty. This is another story. Xiaobei counted with his fingers and told Shuichiro Watanabe. Shuichiro Watanabe shook his head. Xiaobei was very regretful. You really haven't heard of it? It's the rolling Yangtze River flowing to the east. The waves washing away the heroes. The mountains are still there, and the sunset is still red. So many things in the past and present are all jokes. Sister told us about the 3 kingdoms period. It's very interesting. I'll find someone to organize it and print it into a book. I'll sell it to you at a cheap price, okay? Xiaobei told Shuichiro Watanabe the part where Hanzei was almost killed by Cao Cao, the part where Lu Bu wanted to kill Qindeng, the plot of Sun Quan and Deng Ji, and so on. Watanabe Jichiro listened to Xiaobei tell him about laughing from one storyline to another. He finally understood why he was still alive. Xiaobei had placed him in the story and was playing with him. Shuichiro Watanabe was angry and shocked. He was angry that Xiaobei and the others treated him as a toy. He was shocked that Xiao Bei could remember so many things and selectively pick out the plot of such a long story. The so-called romance of the Three Kingdoms story couldn't be done without great wisdom and courage. I see. Zhang Xiaobei's 9 children usually learn these things. No wonder they're so good. Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao are really good. In order to let their younger siblings learn more knowledge, they actually made history into stories to teach. How much effort did they put in? It can't be blamed that the adults of the 2 families let Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan take care of the 9 children. The things they teach are really different. Compared to the children of the Tang Dynasty and the Emperor of the Tang Dynasty, what Xiao Bei and the other 9 children taught can be 1 in 10. Who can teach like Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan? However, Wang Wan usually had to teach military lessons to the generals of the Tang Dynasty, adjust the deployment of the Tang Dynasty's army, and help Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao didn't need to be mentioned. He was in charge of a large area in the northern part of Hebei province, his family's business, the operation of a Tang bank, and the application of technology. Where did they get the time to make up stories? If it were an ordinary person, they would have been exhausted to death. Could it be that the legends were true? The 2 of them were extraordinary and divine. Immortal? I heard that Zhang Xiaobao still had time to play cards and cook. The most important thing was that he was still scheming against Xinluo and Japan, where he was. According to the current situation, the 2 of them are planning to train Xiao Bei's 9 children in the same way as them. If that's the case, how can others live? Watanabe Jichiro thought about it. The fact that he had just survived made him feel no longer happy. With Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, when could Japan turn over? At this time, Xiao Bei had already recovered from the excitement of telling stories. Seeing that Watanabe Jichiro lowered his head and didn't say anything, he said, "Well, Jichiro, you can go. Go back quickly. Otherwise, don't blame me if you are caught again." Shuichiro Watanabe followed Xiao Bei's words and replied, "Oh." He turned around and was about to leave when he suddenly stopped and turned his head unwillingly. He said to Xiao Bei, "I have one more thing. I wonder if Master Zhang can let me say it." Chapter 939. Knowing that his life was in danger, Watanabe didn't seem to want to return empty-handed, but he still said this to Xiao Bei. Even though Xiao Bei was a genius, he couldn't figure out what Watanabe was thinking. He wanted to refuse, but he was afraid that Watanabe would think he was scared. So he tried to maintain the demeanor of an official and nodded. "Go ahead." Watanabe was waiting for this effect. His psychological activity was actually very simple. He was unwilling to fail like this, and he was unwilling to fail in front of a group of children. He was afraid that once he left today, he would no longer have the courage to stay in Tang, or rather, the face. "Come on, I have something to do." Xiao Bei saw that Watanabe was not happy to speak, so he urged him. Hearing Xiao Bei's urging, Watanabe became more confident, thinking that a child was a child after all, and was not calm enough. So he suppressed his unhappiness and asked, "Lord Zhang, do you really think that your Zhang family and Wang family are invincible?" Xiao Bei thought it would be a difficult question. When he heard the question, he curled his lips disdainfully, reached out to ask the person next to him for a jelly, sucked it into his mouth, rubbed it between his cheeks a few times, and smacked it a few times, saying, "You were scared just now. What do you mean that my Zhang family and Wang family are invincible? You should say that Uncle Emperor's Tang Empire is very powerful. I don't know whether Tang Empire is invincible or not, but I know that it's very easy to deal with Japan. Are you done? Then you can go." Watanabe couldn't help but gasp. This little girl was not ordinary. She even knew this. He didn't know that what he said was the most common thing in the Zhang family and Wang family. Xiao Bei and the other 8 people had heard their brother and sister tell them more than once that they couldn't stand out. Unless it was in business, no matter what they did, they had to think of the Emperor and Tang Empire first. Even if they met a person on the road whose dry rations had become moldy and needed to give him something, they had to represent the Emperor and the Tang Empire. That was why Xiao Yuan said, under the leadership of Zhang Xiaobei, so smoothly during the meeting of the Standing Committee. His sister, Wang Wan, understood this very well. Even Xiao Yuan understood this, let alone Xiaobei, who specialized in this kind of problem. Watanabe Jichiro realized that he had miscalculated. He shouldn't have asked such a question at all. Thinking about how Zhang Xiaobei had just agreed to let him go, he regained his courage and asked again, Lord Zhang, don't you worry about your family? As if he was afraid that Xiaobei wouldn't move, Watanabe Jichiro explained, for example, if someone from the inner yard goes out to do something or buy something, they can't possibly bring hundreds of people with them like you, right? We can't. Our family can't spare too many people to protect all the members of the inner courtyard. The only thing we can do is help fight back when the inner courtyard is bullied. Not to mention the inner courtyard. Even the villagers are the same. For example, a few days ago, my family's farmer had his leg broken by someone in the vicinity of Luoyang. At that time, the area under my family's control was not enough, so I only received the news when I entered the small river. Afterwards, my family dispatched the most elite people of the Dai medical school to receive him, and within 24 hours, they went to the place where he was beaten and broke many people's legs. Then there were people who paid the price with their lives. Our family wants to tell others that they must not have any ideas about our family. Otherwise, we won't rest until we're dead. Even if it's a dog in our family, not just anyone can provoke it. Our family strategy is that if people don't offend us, we'll offend them first. If anyone dares to stare at us, we'll confiscate their property and exterminate their family. Xiaobei followed his words and waved his hand. Watanabe Jichiro heard the sound of a gunshot, and 4 bullet holes appeared under his feet. Looking at the 2 people beside Zhang Xiaobei who were using special guns, Watanabe Jichiro understood that the 2 of them had each fired 2 shots. Because they were too fast and fired at the same time, he only heard 1 gunshot. Watanabe Jichiro was startled. He took 2 deep breaths and calmed down. He wasn't afraid that Zhang Xiaobei would kill him. Zhang Xiaobei had already said to let him go, so he thought that Zhang Xiaobei wouldn't go back on his word. He was surprised by Zhang Xiaobei's intelligence. She immediately understood what he was going to say. He was just about to threaten the inner courtyard of the Zhang family and Wang family, and she said that it was the village. And the truth was so. Didn't the Zhang family and Wang family dispatch their elites for a village? It turned out that at that time, the Zhang family and Wang family thought about what might happen today. They told the world not to use their family's servants to open a gap. Bien Ichi. Xiaobei decided to go all out. Bien Ichi. Do you want to touch my family's people? You can try and see if my sister's words count. What words? Watanabe Jichiro was still thinking about the village. If you kill one of my people, I'll slaughter your village. Xiao Yuan said from the side. Suddenly, Watanabe Jichiro remembered what Wang Wan said when she was killing in Tubo. Blood flowed like rivers, and corpses were piled up like mountains. In that battle, all the countries around the Tang Empire were afraid. She asked if they dared, and all the men bowed their heads in fear. Even if Watanabe Jichiro was afraid, he didn't want to admit it. He argued, then what if your people are in Japan? Now there are already people in Japan, and they are the family of the guilty official. They have been taken in by you. After a while, you will know the result. Brother promised sister that within a month, he can mobilize the logistics of 1 million soldiers for sister to go on an expedition. I'm not scaring you. Xiaobei spoke to Watanabe Jichiro with an expression that said, I'm scaring you. After hearing Xiaobei and Xiao Yuan's words, Watanabe Jichiro decided that when he returned, he would reformulate his strategy and put the 9 children in an important position. Those things will be taken care of by others. Watanabe Jichiro no longer talked about topics that didn't benefit him. He changed the topic. Lord Zhang and Zhang family are rich and can win people's hearts more than ordinary people. However, what if a certain country can win people's hearts with the power of a country? What certain country? You're talking about Japan. How much money do you have in Japan? Give each person 5 coins or 10 coins. Xiao Bei took another jelly and stuffed it into his mouth. Give each person 50,000 strings of coins. How much meat did Lord Zhang say it could buy? Watanabe Jichiro vowed to suppress Xiao Bei and regain some face. Xiao Bei stretched his neck and swallowed the jelly. My inner courtyard doesn't need to spend money to eat meat. How many clothes can you buy? Watanabe Jichiro asked again. My inner courtyard doesn't need to spend money to wear clothes. Xiao Bei waved his hand. Then how many medicinal herbs can you accumulate? My inner courtyard doesn't need to spend money to treat illnesses. How about building a house? My inner courtyard has a wedding reception building. And, okay, don't say anymore. It's useless. You don't have anything in Japan. You're so poor. How can you treat illnesses? Do you have the medical skills of our day hospital? Our family is very good to the inner courtyard. If there's a small matter in the inner courtyard, everyone will help. You don't understand. You don't understand. You don't understand. You don't understand. When Han Xianfeng fell ill in Tubo, our family sent people from Lingnan Road to deliver sesame oil. We'll specially develop a food called instant noodles for an inner courtyard member who's allergic to canned food and let him eat it on the road. You can't imagine it at all. Your self-righteous small favors are useless. Xiao Yuan, you tell Bieni. Xiao Bei appeared to be impatient. Okay. Xiao Yuan continued, you just said that Japan can't take out much money in a year. You want to bribe my inner courtyard? Do you want to bribe the people of the dragon with pigs? Do you want to use barley to buy meat? Do you want to use coarse hemp clothes to give brocade pouches and jade belts? Do you want to build a straw hut and give silk mattresses and satin quilts? Our family values loyalty, but we don't use loyalty to coerce loyalty. If our family is loyal to us, we will be loyal to them. Loyalty to one side is not loyalty. Loyalty to one side is mutual loyalty. Loyalty to one side is standing in the middle. Those who are in the middle are neither right nor left. Those who assist the master have not forgotten and have a gua in their heart. When the gua protects the subordinate, it is difficult for the subordinate to rebel. Water can't cover the floating waves, but it doesn't worry about fish passing by with the wind. Silkworms can't stay in the mulberry trees, but it doesn't suffer. When the rain comes, the ants move their nest, and the swallow pecks at the clouds. How can small prophets hide the moon? The stars have their own harmony. Xiao Yuan was finally satisfied. Her tongue-twisting words made Shuichiro Watanabe take a few steps back. He tripped and sat on the ground. It seems that they've already taught me. Since I was a child, I've been told to be good to the servants. In that case, the path of bribery won't work. It's better to go back quickly and think about it at length. Shuichiro Watanabe stood up. He didn't care about his dirty clothes and said to Xiao Bei, Lord Zhang, I still have something to do. We'll meet again in the future. Okay, we'll meet again. Next time, bring enough money. I'll sell you something more fun. I'll give you a 20% discount. Xiao Bei waved his hand. Shuichiro Watanabe left with the doll he bought for 3,000 strings of cash. The only other thing he gained was that he knew that he had to pay attention to the 9 children of the Zhang family and Wang family. He's leaving just like that? The children in the village looked at Shuichiro Watanabe across the bridge and asked Xiao Bei, I can't treat him to a meal. I'm afraid he won't be willing to pay for it. Wait a minute, I'll change my clothes. Xiao Bei said to the children in the village. He asked someone to set up a temporary shed and went in to change his clothes. No one knew what happy things he thought of, but he giggled from time to time. He seemed to be very happy. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan in Hongnong County didn't know what happened in Old Willow Village. They didn't receive the news that Xiao Bei sold a doll for 3,000 strings of cash. The two of them were still dealing with the mess that the Japanese had created this time. The entire Hunan province was under military control. The officials involved were arrested one after another. Some of the officials didn't know what was going on when they were arrested because they didn't receive timely information. Information was constantly being gathered in Hongnong County. There were endless cases of embezzlement. Fortunately, there was no one as bold as Yan Zheng who dared to destroy the embankment. This was a consolation. From top to bottom, they're rotten to the core. Even after so many layers of relationships, we still can't find a clean one. Only now do I realize that Li Longji is a good person. He's willing to be ruthless. He's not afraid of causing a negative impact, and he's not afraid of making a big deal out of it. At the very least, he's willing to admit his guilt. He's never shirked his responsibility. He's not the kind of person who feigns ignorance and acts innocent. He's also not the kind of person who spouts empty words to deceive his own people. Zhang Xiaobao was speaking smoothly when he was interrupted by Wang Wan. Okay, stop insinuating. Even if you don't like it, you can't control that time and space. You made Li Longji sound like a flower. Is it that exaggerated? I didn't see how ruthless he was. How is he not ruthless? If he wasn't ruthless, he would have sent our Xiaobei here. If we didn't come, Xiaobei would have killed her way to the seaside. If she had a boat, it wouldn't be strange for her to kill her way to Japan. Anyway, she doesn't lack people to command. With Xiaobei's personality, she doesn't care how big the situation is. She will kill anyone who dares to stop her. Speaking of his sister, Zhang Xiaobao's mood became cheerful. Wang Wan's lips also curled up. Of the 9 children, only Xiaobei could make a fuss. With her brother and sister behind her, there was nothing she didn't dare to do. What about the Japanese? Do we arrest them too? Wang Wan suddenly asked. There is no reason to arrest the Japanese, unless there is evidence to prove that the Japanese knew that their actions would cause great losses to our Tang Empire. However, I don't think they will admit to it. At the same time, our Tang Empire didn't explicitly state that the Japanese were wrong. They just wanted to sell futures and buy futures warrants. Yes, it's not mature and perfect. They didn't force Yan Zheng to destroy the dikes or force the other officials to keep all kinds of money. Zhang Xiaobao was very distressed. He didn't want to directly accuse the Japanese of some groundless crime, and he didn't want to accuse them of criticizing him. That would make him appear too incompetent. This time, he had used the army and official positions because it involved the officials of the Tang Empire. If there were no officials involved, he wouldn't even use the army and official positions. Wasn't it just a flawed futures and warrants? He couldn't deal with them. Wang Wan also understood Zhang Xiaobao's thoughts. She advised, "Are you troubled? Why don't we stop and let someone else arrest them and accuse them?" Speaking of which, I really admire the Japanese for coming up with such an idea. Do you think we can set up futures in the Tang Empire? Absolutely not. With the current production technology and communication technology, if we really manage to produce futures, I don't have to do anything else other than collect information every day to see who is maliciously speculating and who is a farmer who has wheat soaked in the rain. Then, due to the lack of information in the process of hedging against losses in futures, I won't be able to make the delivery in time or increase the cost or be pressured into selling short. Then what should I do? Just watch and do nothing? If they really know, I really can't do anything. I'm just afraid that they don't know much. If I teach them, they won't be able to learn, and they will be used by others. Then, the stocks will appear again. Well, at that time, I began to constantly improve the system and constantly compete with the smart people. Then, tell me, if I saw a big cake in front of me and others were looking for delicious cream in it, would I personally take a bite? Even though Zhang Xiaobao often used this to make money, he also had a headache because it was impossible to have a perfect system. He didn't think that the people of Great Tang were stupid. It was just that he had gathered the wisdom of many people. Zhang Xiaobao also knew that it wasn't the Japanese who thought of this idea. In fact, many businessmen in Great Tang also knew that they could set up futures to cheat money. They were afraid that Zhang Xiaobao wouldn't allow it, so they didn't do so. But as more things were opened up, it would be more difficult for him. He wasn't afraid of any competition. Who was he afraid of in the past? He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to handle it. He wanted to control the entire economy of Great Tang. At the very least, it couldn't be chaotic now. Thus, the simpler the rules, the better. Wang Wan nodded. That's right. If that's the case, it will tire you to death. You can only manage one side and keep blocking the loopholes. I believe that the smart businessmen of Great Tang will keep taking advantage of the loopholes. The talents we need haven't been nurtured yet. Otherwise, when there's a problem here, you come over. When there's a problem elsewhere, you go over. In the end, you can't do anything well. It's like a screen of brains appearing at the same time in a game of whack-a-mole. It's scary just thinking about it. That's right. I'm not a god. You let others set the rules while I speculate. That's too simple. I can make a lot of money. But you let me set the rules and guard against others. That's impossible to guard against. Just the Great Tang Bank alone has taken up a lot of my energy. And this is because the bank has few functions. Zhang Xiaobao was a little helpless. There were times when a person's strength was limited. After thinking about it, he said, "Let's not talk about this anymore. Capture the officials involved and hand them over to the imperial court. Let the Japanese go and speed up our plan. Let the businessmen of Jiangnan East move faster. Vigorously develop tourism in Japan and help them find more jobs. At the same time, help them sell more raw materials in exchange for Great Tang's foreign exchange." Wang Wan wrote down Zhang Xiaobao's words in her notebook. After thinking for a moment, she said to Zhang Xiaobao, "If you want the businessmen of Jiangnan East to enter Japan faster and more smoothly, you can't directly say to let the Japanese go. You have to put pressure on them. Let them feel afraid. When the time comes, let the businessmen of Jiangnan East to talk to the Japanese. They can talk to you and help you get rid of the disaster by spending money. You won't really use Beibei's money and not give it to them, right? We agreed that the Japanese would bear the losses of our country. Yes, in the end, we have to return the money to Beibei and the others. It's not easy for them to earn money. The New Year's money is all kowtowing during the New Year, but they can take it out for the people. They are the real descendants of the Red. Compared to, stop. Don't mention things that are too far away. You can't change anything even if you scold them every day. In this absurd era, where people have lost faith in morality, everything is irreversible. You finally admit it. I'm very happy because I feel that I'm not a criminal. At least I have a trace of nobility. I'm not a judge, but I won't allow you to continue. Otherwise, I'll make you look at the moon. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. Xiao Bei and the others didn't know that the money they had taken out would be recovered, but they didn't care. Money was only useful when they were doing what they wanted to do. It wasn't usually useful. How could they not eat when their pocket money was gone? They still played when they wanted to play and have fun when they wanted to. After changing their clothes, Beibei and the others once again joined the work of making dolls. After solving the problem of the cost of the cement road in Old Willow Village, Beibei began to discuss with others how to spend the rest of the money. 3,000 strings of coins. It's not enough to build the road. 1,000 strings of coins is enough. Think about it. What should we use it for? At this moment, Beibei's pierced hand didn't hurt anymore. He pressed the grass seeds into the dolls one by one and asked for others' opinions. You're the one who sold it. You can keep it for yourself. The little girl who helped Beibei with the dolls earlier suggested. This time, she was completely relieved. Beibei didn't put on the airs of an official anymore. He was still the same Beibei who said that the fried mushrooms were delicious and took out oil. When he ate the fried mushrooms together, his mouth was covered in oil. Beibei, who was pressing the grass seeds, pressed a few more. Let the hair grow longer. That money doesn't belong to me alone. It belongs to our Old Willow Village International Development Group. Besides, 2,000 strings of coins is useless to me. It's not enough for me to renovate the house. Sister Beibei, they all said that you have a big house and it's very beautiful. They can even follow you, right? The little girl was curious. Beibei didn't know how to seal the dolls, so he passed them to others and nodded. Yes, there are two. One is small and the other is big. The small one can't enter. The small one is actually better than the big one. It has a matching dynamic balance. This time, we came out in a hurry and didn't bring the house. I have to think of a way to go back and ask Uncle Emperor for 3 million strings of coins. Will he give it to you? If he doesn't give it to me, I'll stay in the capital every day. If there's a court session, I'll attend it and scare the officials to death. Bebe waved her fist. The other children only knew that there was a morning court session in the capital, but they didn't know the specific situation. They felt that it was very strange. So a little boy came over and asked, "Morning court session? I heard that they are all high-ranking officials. Who is afraid of you?" It should be said that who is not afraid of us? We are also high-ranking officials. We patrol the Tang Empire and can impeach all the officials. Last time, when I went against my father, I was almost beaten when I went home. Fortunately, I avoided quickly. The 9 of us together can even remonstrate with Uncle Emperor. It's just that we don't have a chance. Uncle Emperor is actually very easy to talk to. All the officials that the 9 of us arrested have all been heavily sentenced. We can't embarrass Uncle Emperor in front of so many officials in the court, right? Bebe still didn't understand the cruelty of the struggle in the court. None of the officials in the court would do anything to her. First of all, they didn't dare. It was easy to bully children, no matter how smart Bebe was. When they thought of the consequences of bullying Bebe's 9 children, all the officials would remain silent. The officials believed that whoever bullied Bebe and the others would definitely face the overwhelming attacks of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. First, the benefits would be withdrawn. Then, there would be people gathering comprehensive evidence. It would definitely be a situation where they wouldn't rest until one of them was dead. Second, of course, it was a crime to bully such cute children. If one thought that they were capable, then they could directly deal with Zhang Zhong, Zhang Xiaobao, and Wang Wan. In the end, they vented their anger on the children and made Bebe speechless. No one would think that they were capable. Even the emperor would look at them differently. The consequences would be very serious. Chapter 940. The children tried hard to imagine the awe-inspiring scene of Xiao Bei and the others in the imperial court, but they could not think of it. The most direct impression was when Xiao Bei faced Shuichiro Watanabe. At that moment, Xiao Bei was definitely not the same person as the Xiao Bei in front of them now. When the girl who was holding the doll thought of Xiao Bei's dignified, noble, and official prestige, she felt uncertain. She asked Xiao Bei timidly, "Xiao Bei, are we friends?" "No, we're not friends." Xiao Bei shook her head. "We're sisters. You can't do it, and Lu, I can't do it. Let's work together. I am in charge of the official matters. Lu depends on you." Xiao Bei and the others had always been educated like this. There would not be any mistakes. Of course, Xiao Bei would not be perfunctory. For example, Zhang Chang was the son of a mountain villager in Luzhou, and he adopted him. There were also Zhang Gang and Zhang Fang from Wing Province, as well as Danan and Xiaonan. The 5 children, no matter what their original intentions were, at least did not have any prejudice. They ate and dressed the same and received the same education. The Zhang and Wang families treated them equally. Even if they made a mistake and got beaten up, they would only slap Xiao Bei twice. They would not be slapped once, and they would still have to suffer 2 slaps. Of course, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had never hit their younger siblings. It was not that they did not know how, but they did not care. Zhang Xiaobao always believed that if the children were disobedient, it was the adults who were not capable. Parents with low self-esteem would only beat their children. A child was a clean piece of white paper. If they wrote wrong or drew crooked, should they blame the paper? Therefore, Xiao Bei, who had received such an education, was not lying. Naturally, she was this sincere. The little girl who asked the question had not received the corresponding education. For a moment, she was touched. She bit her lip and nodded vigorously. "I'll definitely do a good job. Xiao Bei, let me ask you. During the morning court, Are there so many high-ranking officials sitting on very beautiful chairs? Is it not easy for the county magistrate to get there? Xiao Bei was stunned for a moment and shook her head. No, the county magistrate can't get in at all. Only grade 5 officials can enter the court, let alone the chairs. Even if they stand outside, the row on the right is mostly military officials. The row on the left is mostly civil officials. There are also some who are not military officials. Have you seen the steps? They just stood at the bottom of the stairs. When they reached the bottom where there were no stairs, they were all rank 5 officials. When it was raining or snowing, the officials in front of them, who were rank 3 and above, still had a canopy or umbrella. They should thank my older brother and older sister. My older brother and older sister set up a heater under Hanyuan Palace Hall. Otherwise, they would freeze to death in the winter. In the past, when the weather was warm, Uncle Emperor would be outside. When the weather was cold, he would be inside the hall with a heater. As for Uncle Emperor and them, there was always the Jinwu guards between them and him. Now, the Emperor and Uncle are all outside, sitting on big, wide, thick chairs. My family made them for us. There are many people, so we have to do this. When there are not many people, we can go to Xingqing Palace. I don't go to Hanyuan Palace Hall often. I'm afraid that my father will beat me, saying that I'm always causing trouble. I also don't go to Xingqing Palace Hall often. It's not fun there. The place I go the most is Hibiscus Garden. When it's open to the public, there's a lot of people. The surrounding children blinked their big eyes and listened attentively. They had never been to the capital, let alone participate in morning court. Usually, no one would tell them. Now that they were listening to Xiao Bei speak, they naturally had to be more careful. At least Xiao Bei wouldn't lie. Then, what does the current emperor eat? Is it the dragon meat from the sky? A child asked. What? I don't even know what a dragon looks like. The food, how should I put it? How about this? I'll get someone to arrange and mix some ingredients. Let's taste it together. It's just that. The food is good, but there's not much. Especially when my brother cooks, Uncle Emperor eats whatever my brother cooks. Xiao Bei tried hard to recall the food he ate and found that it was not as good as what he ate at home. But in order to satisfy others, he had to think of ways to mix ingredients to cook. Little sister Xiao Bei, where do you stand when you go to court? And your brother and sister? Me? I don't stand. I sit in Uncle Emperor's arms, and I usually turn my head. Why? I'm afraid of seeing my father. My father will glare at me when he sees me, so I can only go down and let my father hug me. Hugging is not as comfortable as sitting, right? Xiao Bei said. The other officials don't object? Who dares? I deliberately made a few mistakes, hoping that the censorate will impeach me. Did they impeach you? No, if I didn't impeach them, they would be burning incense. A bunch of cowards. Then why? Because I dared to stand in front of the civil and military officials in Hanyuan Palace Hall and pat my chest and say, I, Zhang Xiaobei, did not take a single copper coin from the common people. I, Xiaobei, will not compromise with any corrupt officials. I have never done anything to harm the common people. My loyalty is as clear as the sun and the moon. But they did not dare to say the same thing as me. It's that simple. Xiao Bei proudly puffed out his chest. Xiao Yuan echoed from aside. Yes, yes, elder sister said before, the officials do not fear my strictness, but fear my honesty. The common people do not fear my ability, but obey my righteousness. The children had never heard of it before, but they could understand. They nodded one by one. One of them praised, Elder Sister Cuckoo is really amazing. What she said is so right. Xiao Bei shook his head. But after Elder Sister said it, Elder Brother said, I would rather have an official who can raise the standard of living of the common people by 10 times, and who is corrupt by 2 or 3 times, than an honest official who makes the common people live a hard life, and who also cannot live a happy life. Elder Brother said, I don't hope for the officials to think that I am honest. I only hope that the officials will provide food and warmth to the common people. I don't ask for the common people to obey my righteousness. but to cover the children in the cold winter with duck feathers, to ruin my 1,000 years of reputation, to build prosperity for thousands of years. In the storm of abuse, my heart is calm. The children were at a loss for a moment. Io, look at this shaking. This old man's bones are about to fall apart. Just as the children were listening to the story, an old man's shout came from the suspension bridge. Xiao Bei turned his head to look and was suddenly stunned. The old man on the bridge did not seem to have any intention of shutting up. He continued to complain. It is said that the Zhengzheng construction group of the Zhang family and Wang family make things with iron bones. Could it be that today's broken bridge also has iron bones? Io, this is shaking me so badly. When the children heard someone complain that the Zhengzheng construction group's products were not good, they immediately became angry and glared at the old man. They did not care if the old man had many people protecting him or why he was not stopped by the seedling protection team. But they could not speak ill of the Zhengzheng construction group. Grandpa, why are you here? Huh? Xiao Bei opened his arms and ran towards the old man. Xiao Yuan and the rest followed closely behind. Let Grandpa report. Aya, so heavy. I'm old, I can't carry you. The person who had just crossed the bridge was Bai Go. He should have died long ago, but because Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan came, he was still alive and well. He carried Xiao Bei up and weighed him, then put him on the ground. He supported his waist with both hands and said old. Even so, Bai Go carried the other 8 children one by one and patted Xiao Hai's head. Where are your elder brother and sister? They are dealing with people in the county, Xiao Hai replied. Grandpa, why are you here? Xiao Bei grabbed Bai Go's hand and looked up to ask. Bai Go waved at the guards behind him and asked them to stay away so as not to scare the children. He then smiled and said, I came to find your brother to fish. The fish between the clouds and the water are too stupid. It's not fun to fish. I heard that there is a lot of water here, so there should be a lot of fish. The Hongnong River was man-made. That guy Yanzheng dared to destroy the dam. He made me so angry. Xiao Bei pouted and muttered, Oh, that's right. When I return to the capital, I will also impeach him. I heard that there are people from the Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family here, so I came over. You are here for? Bai Go thought that Zhang Xiaobao was here, but he met Xiao Bei and the rest. The county is going to be rebuilt. The children are in the way, so I brought them here to hide. Xiao Bei looked proud. Bai Go pondered. He had not seen the situation in Hongnong County with his own eyes. Before he came, he had only heard about it from others. He could not make an accurate judgment, so he asked, Xiao Bei, tell me, are there many damaged houses in the county? Xiao Bei shook her head. Not many. Most of the county is soaked in water. The highest water level is here. As Xiao Bei spoke, she reached out her hand and gestured a position above her head. Obviously, she was telling Bai Go that the highest water level in the county was higher than her height. Xiao Bei measured it with her body, Xiao Hai added. The so-called measured with her body naturally meant that Xiao Bei walked to the deepest part of the water to measure. Bai Shu rubbed Xiao Bei's head and looked at Xiao Yuan. He said, Since everything is fine now, I think the county will be finished soon. Before I came here, someone told this old man that Hongnong had suffered a great loss. Xiao Yuan shook his head and then nodded. Grandpa Bai, it's not just a great loss. Most of the county is still soaked in water. Fortunately, the rain has stopped. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. Xiao Hai also stood up. He was not as coquettish as Xiao Bei, so his closeness to Bai Go was not obvious. He greeted Bai Go out of courtesy and said, Grandpa Bai, my brother said that the real problem is not how Hongnong County is. Hongnong County is not like the capital Chang or Luoyang. There are too many important shops and mansions there. My brother said that if he had a choice, he would rather the county be washed away. The villages outside the county remain and the transportation of the Honglu River can be preserved. After saying this, Xiao Hai did not say anything else. He did not mention the details, and the other children did not add anything to Bai Go. Bai Go pondered for a while and figured out the reason. Zhang Xiaobao meant that if the county was washed away and the surroundings were stable, it would be easy to rebuild the county. This was because Hongnong County was an agricultural and water transportation county. The county was nothing more than a temporary residence and negotiation location for merchants. If the county was gone, so be it. It would not affect the merchants. They could change to another place to discuss business. It would not affect the flow of agricultural products. Xiao Bei tell Grandpa, did Hongnong lose too many crops? Also, the various livestock and poultry that your brother mentioned in the breeding plan that he came up with later also lost a lot of them. Bai Go thought of the severity of the situation. If the information he got from Xiao Bei was consistent with what he thought, then this winter would not be easy for Hongnong. Xiao Bei nodded vigorously. Before she said anything, she cried. She was very sad. Only when Bai Go comforted her did she rub her eyes, pursed her lips, and told Bai Go what she saw in Hongnong. When Bai Go heard Xiao Bei's explanation, his eyes could not help but turn red. Xiao Bei said that when she came to Hongnong, she saw a vast ocean. Bai Go understood the ocean. He had been to the ocean before. What Xiao Bei saw was crooked or fallen trees. In the fields that were supposed to be harvested in autumn, there was not a single grain growing. They were all gone. Some were floating on the water, and some were washed away. There were also houses outside the county. Some had strong gables left, and some were even villages. Only floating logs could be seen squeezing together. The water was muddy. When one swam on the water, one did not dare to breathe easily. There was white foam between the grass sticks, dead pigs, dead dogs, dead chickens, and a few scattered ducks and geese looking for food. Even the mice were floating. Some places could not be drained, and the water became dirty and smelly. There were also a few people who were drowning. Grandpa Bai, if I did not know that this was Hongnong when I came, I would have thought that I came to the wrong place. Grandpa Bai, do you know? It was not a problem of how much money was lost. It was a problem of how long it would take for Hongnong to recover. There was no grain in the surrounding area. Everyone was crowded in the county. My family transported goods here by cart. My brother had ordered to hire people from the surrounding areas to send necessities to Hongnong. The water transportation had been stopped long ago. The dam was not blocked yet. A cart of stones fell down and disappeared in the blink of an eye. As Xiao Bei spoke, he started crying again. Bai Go gritted his front teeth. He finally understood the real situation from Xiao Bei's words. That was to say, the foundation of the entire Hongnong had collapsed. If there were no corresponding strong measures, it would take many years for the people of Hongnong to recover. Their savings of many years were gone. Some of their family members had died. Their houses had to be rebuilt. They had to live in debt for a period of time. The most terrible thing was that the people of Hongnong had just gotten used to planting the new seeds distributed by the Sanongsi Temple. They had just increased the yield per mu. Furthermore, they had just understood how to breed animals in sets and had started to breed livestock in large quantities. It was the year of harvest, and they knew that good days were coming. Suddenly, a man-made disaster came, and their hope turned into disappointment. The kind of heartache caused by the government's inaction, no, the persecution by the government officials, was the most difficult to heal. Xiao Bei, don't cry. Everything will get better. Bai Go sighed. He closed his eyes and took a few deep breaths. He patted Xiao Bei's head and comforted him. Xiao Bei nodded vigorously. I won't cry. Crying won't solve the problem. I will take care of the children in Old Willow Village. I promise, not only will I let them live peacefully here, I will also not affect their studies. Wait for me. When I return to the capital, I will bring Yen Zheng back too. See how I will deal with him. That's good. Xiao Bei is the best. Bai Go did not doubt Xiao Bei's words. He believed that Yen Zheng's disaster had come. The final outcome would be Yen Zheng going crazy. As for the specific situation, he still needed to go to the county to see Zhang Xiaobao. He could only hope that Zhang Xiaobao could turn the tide and support the affairs of Hongnong as soon as possible. He wanted to solve the problems of the people's lives before winter came. Winter is not good, Bai Go said angrily. It's okay. Winter is fine, Xiao Yuan said firmly. Oh, why? Bai Go looked over and asked. Because we have spent money. We have put in our own pocket money, more than 3 million strings of cash. Brother is mobilizing resources from the surrounding areas. A few construction teams near Zhengzheng Construction are also rushing here. The follow-up construction materials will be delivered soon. Brother said that this time, we must let the people of Hongnong live in warm and sturdy houses during winter. This is because the disaster this time was caused by the officials. The officials cannot lose their credibility. If there is no food, they can plant. If the houses collapsed, they can rebuild. If the people's hearts are lost, it will be very scary. Within half a month, all the accumulated water must be drained. Within a month, the houses must be built. Within 2 months, all the livestock and poultry that the people lost must be compensated. At the same time, the land and water routes must be unblocked, and better than before. If the local people in the county are not enough, they can be transferred from outside. If there are not enough people, the army will take over. Even if they have to use their mouths, they must drain the accumulated water. This is to let the people of Hongnong know that the imperial court values them very much and has never given up. Only by doing this can we eliminate the negative influence of Yanzheng and the other officials. Xiao Yuan said one thing after another to Bai Go. His eyes were filled with confidence. It was as if what he said could be realized immediately, because the decision was made by his brother. Bai Go was stunned. He did not expect Zhang Xiaobao to value this so much. Of course, after knowing Zhang Xiaobao's decision, he was relieved. Since Zhang Xiaobao wanted to do it, he would definitely be able to do it. Oh, you have put in your pocket money? Is your family unable to make ends meet? Bai Go was curious about this matter. Could it be that the Zhang family and the Wang family could not even transfer 3 million strings of cash? Xiao Bei waved his hand and said, No, how can my family not have money? I came here first and saw the disaster situation, so I made a promise to the people. Anyway, I don't need much money. Xiao Bei is a good child, Bai Go praised. That's true. Xiao Bei nodded. Well, I won't stay here any longer. I'm going to the county city to see your brother. I have something to discuss with him. I'll leave the matters here to Xiao Bei. I believe he can do a good job. Bai Go planned to leave. No problem. Goodbye, Grandpa Bai. Xiao Bei puffed out his chest. After Bai Go left, Xiao Bei and the group of children continued making dolls. All of them were even more motivated. On the road to the county city, Bai Go saw barren fields on both sides. When he was tired of walking, he stopped to rest. He looked at the sky and sighed. A man-made disaster is worse than a natural disaster. Xiao Bao would not do this just to appease the people. Why do you think? Bai Go asked the housekeeper next to him. The housekeeper was still young and was the grandson of the old housekeeper. He was still a young man in his 30s. Bai Go wanted to bring him to see Zhang Xiaobao. As he had just become the housekeeper not long ago, most of his understanding of Zhang Xiaobao came from other people. Hearing Bai Go's question, the housekeeper replied respectfully, Master, is it because Zhang Xiaobao wants to build up his reputation? I heard that the current emperor specially added an autumn imperial examination for him and Wang Wan. However, something happened and it was postponed for a month. With a reputation, he has a better chance of becoming the top scorer. Hee. Bai Go looked at his young housekeeper and laughed. Chong. Bai Go said the housekeeper's name. Xiao Bao needs Hong Nong's reputation? The top scorer can't be anyone else. Xiao Bao has always been a scheming person. If he didn't come to Hong Nong personally and let Xiao Bei and the other 9 children do the work, it might really be because he wants to rebuild Hong Nong. However, he came, and so did Cuckoo. You're saying that Xiao Bao can't mobilize the army by himself? Don't just think of him as a civil official. Back in Tubo, he and Cuckoo cooperated with each other. Even if he didn't know how to command the army in the past, wouldn't he learn a thing or two from being with Cuckoo every day? That's a fool. How can Xiao Bao be a fool? The reason why he doesn't show his military talent is the same reason why Cuckoo doesn't show her economic and political talent. Unless it's someone close to them, other people's impression of them is that one is a civil official and the other is a military official. When they deal with the two of them, they will target them. They are waiting for the people who want to deal with them to feel that the time is right. The moment they make a move, they will let the other party know that civil officials can change into military officials at any time, and military officials can change into civil officials immediately. Do you understand? The housekeeper called Chong Chung was frightened by Go's words. After thinking carefully, he admitted, when the time comes, it's indeed very scary. But I still don't know what's the difference if Zhang Xiaobao comes personally. I thought of a few points. I'll tell you. Go didn't really approve of the new housekeeper's ability. The reason why he still used Chong Chung was because he was loyal enough. It had been a long time since he guessed Zhang Xiaobao's motive. Go was a little excited. In the past, he and the other old guys, including the emperor, liked to scheme against Zhang Xiaobao the most, but they always failed. Xiaobao always does things with antelope horns. Go cracked a smile and said to the housekeeper, "First, Xiaobao wants the Fan Metro Cavalry Battalion to adapt to the environment in the interior of the Tang Empire. If I'm not wrong, the other 6 battalions will follow. The most terrifying soldiers are not only good at fighting in the designated environment, but also the Miao Protection Team. In their words, they are all-terrain and all-weather fighting forces. In water battles, they can't compare to people who specialize in water battles. In mountain battles, they can't compare to soldiers who specialize in mountain battles. It's the same for grasslands and deserts. However, they were not inferior by much. Under the command of the same general, 1,000 against 1,000, they would definitely lose. But they would definitely not lose miserably. However, as long as they were given 2 more teams, they would have the advantage in terms of numbers, and they would be able to win. The biggest problem is that the general who is commanding them is not an ordinary person, but Cuckoo, who gives military lessons to the Tang Empire's generals. Outsiders give Cuckoo the title of devil because she kills a lot of people, and she is not soft-hearted when killing people. She often laughs when she kills people. Our great Tang's generals gave her the title of Demon Fox. They all said that she was as cunning as a fox. When she had the advantage in numbers, there was no hope of defeating her. Even when her forces were weak, she would always find an opportunity. So, they want to train the Iron Cavalry Battalion. They don't need the current 8 battalions to go to the original Tufan area. There is no battle there. Moreover, they have transferred the 8 battalions because they still have troops there. After saying the first point, Go paused. The housekeeper quickly served him water. Master, according to what you said, isn't Wang Wan invincible? Our Tang Empire can't find a general who can deal with her? The housekeeper was not convinced. Go waved his hand. Cuckoo is not invincible. She also lost in the sand table simulation. Even if she lost a few times and escaped successfully, it is still a loss. However, with Zhang Xiaobao as her adjutant, cooperating with her to carry out the sand table deduction, she must be invincible. That's why us old bastards, including the emperor, have been studying this matter. Master, have you studied it? The housekeeper was puzzled. Yes, because when cooperating with Cuckoo, Xiaobao is in charge of logistics and intelligence. Many times, it is Xiaobao's logistics army that determines the final outcome of a battle. When Cuckoo is unable to break through the situation, what he likes to do the most is to analyze the enemy's generals for her. In the end, we found that Xiaobao can actually calculate people's minds. Huan's ability to command and Xiaobao's grasp of people's hearts have created an invincible army in the Great Tang. If they were to arrange for their families' military commanders to be placed in the sand table as battalion commanders, captains, or company commanders, then they would be able to work together with tacit understanding. I have seen it once, and they have only fought it once. In the capital, with the same number of soldiers, Even the team leader on the general's side was a 7th-ranked military official. In the sand table of the Shannon E Circuit, it could be said that they had sent out all their elites. Cuckoo was the enemy's main general, and Xiao Bao was her adjutant. The leaders of the small teams under them were all commanders from their families. That battle could be said to have changed the color of the mountains and rivers. You can't even guess how savage Cuckoo's command was. The general's side was filled with communication soldiers, but Cuckoo didn't do much communication at all. Sometimes she just gave a tactical order and didn't care anymore. She didn't even ask where her troops were. In this way, without any communication, Cuckoo led her people to fight beautifully one after another. Xiao Bao's logistics team was also able to accurately deliver supplies to every key location. The general's side could only defend and couldn't fight back. Have you ever seen a team of more than 100 people dare to force their way through the mountains without any orders? Have you ever seen Xiao Bao send supplies to a place without any communication? And when the generals launch a sneak attack, a large number of soldiers suddenly appear to counter the sneak attack? Baigo said excitedly to the housekeeper. When he reached the most interesting part, he started to dance as if he was the one who was commanding the troops. The housekeeper was already dumbfounded. He shook his head blankly and kept muttering, "How can this be? How can this be? You haven't seen it before, right? It's good that you haven't seen it before. When the autumn quarter examination comes, maybe I can get you a place to watch it. I'll take you to see it. Cuckoo is going to be the martial arts champion of the autumn quarter examination. The generals want to take revenge. Cuckoo will lead a team of cold weapons to fight the general's gun and artillery team in the Jiangnan circuit with the same number of people." Baigo's eyes lit up as if he couldn't wait. Using cold weapons to fight guns? Why? Weren't the guns made by the Zhang clan and Wang clan first? They should be more familiar with it. Why don't they use it? The housekeeper didn't understand. Because Cuckoo and Xiao Bao both said that weapons aren't everything. They wanted to teach the generals of Great Tang a lesson so that they can't be too proud. Losing on a sand table is better than losing in a real battle. Baigo sighed again. As for why Cuckoo and Xiao Bao were able to defeat each other last time, he didn't mention it. In fact, it was very simple. It meant that Cuckoo and Xiao Bao would usually bring the commanders at home to do sand table simulations when they had nothing to do. They had probably used the sand table to simulate every place in Great Tang. When they encountered a situation, they knew how to deal with it and how to deal with it. Thus, they didn't need to communicate much. They were already familiar with the terrain and fighting style of each other. "Master, I know the first reason. It's to train the soldiers. What about the second reason?" The housekeeper also looked forward to seeing it with his own eyes in the autumn. Bai Su stood up, stretched his legs and feet, and continued to walk in the direction of the county town. As he walked, he said to the housekeeper, "Second, I guess it's to deter people from other places who still want to scheme against us. Japan needs to pay something for this before Zhang Xiaobao will let go. So there are these two reasons. Master is really good." The housekeeper praised at the right time. However, Baigo didn't appreciate it at all. He frowned and said, "I can only think of 2 reasons. But Xiao Bao definitely has more than 2 reasons. He won't become more stupid as he lives. When we get there and see him, you will follow me. Then you will know how good his calculations are." Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't know that Baigo was coming. Both of them were busy. Zhang Xiaobao mobilized materials from all over the country. Wang Wan, as Baigo guessed, also tried to let the people of the Iron Cavalry Camp adapt to the food and climate in the interior of the Tang Empire when she commanded them to work. As for counting the disaster and verifying the compensation, it was enough to arrange for the people in the inner court. They were busy until the evening. They didn't have the appetite to eat a big meal. Even if they had the conditions, they didn't dare to eat a big meal. Also, the common people could only eat half of their usual food every day. Zhang Xiaobao took out the leftovers from lunch and fried them with salty Chinese tune sprouts. He also boiled 2 bowls of egg soup and spicy cabbage. He and Wang Wan had a good meal. After taking a hot bath in the big wooden barrel, they sat at the 2 ends of the table and spread out the map to study the next step. From here, we can lay railway tracks all the way to the north of the river. In this way, Hongnong can be connected to the Yellow River and also become a hub for land transportation. In the past, we wanted to lay railway tracks here, but it cost too much. Now that the disaster has happened, it's time to rebuild it. Zhang Xiaobao pointed at a place on the map and told Wang Wan his idea. Wang Wan measured on the map with her palm. Why not next to Luoyang? Luoyang can be the center. Luoyang is already the center. It's not enough to only have one distribution center for the distribution of materials. It will allow the local merchants to monopolize the distribution, which is not good for the development of the entire Tang Empire. Especially when the railway is laid to Luoyang first, Luoyang's economic and political status will be higher than Chang, and for a period of time. It's not in Li Longji's interest. Transportation has always been a problem. Most importantly, there is a lot of coal in Hunan, which is not inferior to Shaanxi. The railway needs coal, and we can use local materials. When the time comes, we can build a pier on the opposite bank of the Yellow River. When the goods are transported from the railway to Hongnong, they can immediately change to water and be transported directly to the opposite bank of the Yellow River. We can't build a bridge to connect to the railway. It's not worth it. The cost is high, and the efficiency will not increase by much. When the time comes, the railway can be connected to the north of the Yellow River all the way to the northeast. The 3 provinces in the northeast will pay for this, which is the north of Hebei province. There are many plains in Hebei province, and that part of the railway is the easiest to lay. There is also coal in the northeast. The most important thing is agricultural products and Dalian's sea products. If we only use the river to transport the goods, it will be too much of a delay. How can we prosper if we can't sell the goods? In the future, the Northeast will become the center of heavy industry. The population there is small, so it's fine if there is more pollution. While Zhang Xiaobao was speaking, he had already picked up a pen and drew a line on the map. It was the line from the northeast that passed by Hebei province, the line that he wanted to build a railway. Wang Wan frowned. Looking at the line on the map, she couldn't feel happy. This line looked simple. It was just money. Even if the imperial court didn't spend money, her family's wealth was enough. Of course, she couldn't fork out the money herself. The problem wasn't money, but the smelting technology. Most of it was used to make guns and cannons, and some was sent to the shipyard. The steel used for the railway couldn't be used, so where could they get it from? There was another point. The line could be drawn straight, but the railway couldn't be laid out that way. There were mountains in some places, so they had to dig caves. There were also places where bridges had to be built, and large amounts of stones were needed. Blasting stones and so on would kill people. Xiaobao, no matter how advanced the technology is, it can't prevent people from dying when building the railway. Not to mention, the technology now can't compare to the technology we had back then. The difference is too great. How many lives do you plan to use to make up for it? Wang Wan didn't want the Tang Empire to lose a lot of people at a time when it needed people and there was no war. Zhang Xiaobao held the pen and suddenly smiled. He said to Wang Wan, "Of course I know people will die, but I can't bear to let people of the Tang Empire die. I can't be a pacifist in the world in my life. My idea is that I can't come here for nothing." "Where are you?" Wang Wan couldn't think of a place where people could come from. In Japan, the Japanese have a good point. They are willing to work and do things. When they were defeated and surrendered, the women in Japan could also bear the heavy burden. Just like the women in North Korea, they are all good people. Zhang Xiaobao pointed to the east, which meant that he was pointing to Japan. "Then, how do you plan to get the Japanese to come over? I don't feel bad for them if they die, but they are not stupid. How can a fool create futures?" Wang Wan was even more puzzled. "Xiaobao Cuckoo, I'm here. Xiaobao, come out and meet me." Before Zhang Xiaobao could explain how to get the Japanese to come over, an old man's shout came from outside. Hearing the sound, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan looked at each other and said at the same time, "Why is he here?" The two didn't dare to delay. They got up and went to see Bai Go. Seeing that Bai Go was still so healthy, they felt a sense of pride. They had changed the time of Bai Go's life. "You've grown taller." Bai Go also looked at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. The smile on his face didn't stop. He looked left and right and couldn't get enough of them. Zhang Xiaobao also laughed and walked over with Wang Wan. One on the left and one on the right, they helped Bai Go into the house. "Grandpa, Bai, why are you here? You should stay in the capital. Why go to the disaster area and suffer?" Zhang Xiaobao helped Bai Go into the house and arranged for him to sit down. Wang Wan brought snacks and tea, put them on the small table, and asked Bai Go. Bai Go was in a hurry and didn't eat. He first picked up a piece of cake and put it in his mouth. Then he blew on the tea and swallowed it. After swallowing a piece of cake, he felt much better. He said to Wang Wan, "I'm tired of staying in Sanshui County. I'm also tired of fishing between the clouds and the water. Look, my body is not bad, so I came to find you guys to fish." "Don't be modest. How can you say that your body is not bad? You're young. You'll be 70 years old in a year. Grandpa Bai, if you want to fish, you have to wait. The dam has just been blocked, the water is still muddy, and the fish won't come." Zhang Xiaobao followed by the side and picked up an orange to peel it. Bai Go didn't stand on ceremony. He opened his mouth and asked for a piece of orange. He smiled and swallowed it. He asked, "Xiaobao, you didn't come here in person just to take care of the reconstruction, right?" "That's right." Zhang Xiaobao didn't admit that he had other thoughts. "Why? I think Cuckoo wants to train the soldiers in Japan. You also want to get some money from Japan? Could it be that this old man thought wrong?" Bai Go asked with a look of victory in his hands. The housekeeper who had been accompanying him and arranged for protection also went into the house to listen. He wanted to see if Zhang Xiaobao was really as magical as the old master said. Zhang Xiaobao chuckled and said to Wang Wan, "See, I told you. We can't hide it from Grandpa Bai. With Grandpa Bai's ability, we can't hide it even if we want to. You didn't believe me. Don't push the blame to me. What am I hiding? But our Grandpa Bai is indeed amazing. He saw through our thoughts the moment he came. I think Grandpa Bai will be 65 next year, not 70. Wang Wan said and filled Bai Go's teacup with water. She smiled and asked, "Grandpa Bai, did you bring fishing gear?" "I didn't bring it. I waited for you two masters to prepare it for me. I didn't find anything else, but I found that you two are getting better at fooling people. You can't only think of the 2 points that I can think of, right? Xiaobao, tell Grandpa what other plans you have. Don't hide anything." Bai Go acted like a tycoon and began to ask Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao put a piece of orange into Bai Go's mouth and said sincerely, "I really don't have anything else. Grandpa Bai, you saw through my little plan. Grandpa Bai is better than before. Keep fooling me. I knew it. Why am I so tired of staying in Sanshui County? I'm not used to not having people fooling me." Bai Go was unmoved. He pretended not to see the sincerity on Zhang Xiaobao's face. "All right, actually there is one more thing. Since I am here, I can't come here for nothing. The reconstruction can also be done with the railway, all the way to the north bank of the Yangtze River. A large amount of goods can be transported to Hongnong by the railway. When people see it, they will think that the railway is so convenient. It will be more convenient when the railway is laid. There will be more people supporting it." Zhang Xiaobao said one thing, and Bai Go nodded as he listened. He then turned to look at his housekeeper, and met his housekeeper's gaze that seemed to say, "What else?" Bai Go asked happily, "What else? What else? Grandpa Bai, I really can't think of anything else. I am here to provide disaster relief, not to make a fortune. That's all." Zhang Xiaobao refused to admit. Bai Go was like a child. He turned his face away from Zhang Xiaobao, which meant that he did not believe him. Wang Wan could not help but laugh. "Grandpa Bai, You are staring at the snacks. You haven't eaten, right? Let Xiao Bao cook some dishes for you. Drink some hot wine to warm up your body. No need. I am in good health. I will be 60 next year. The snacks are good. They are soft and delicious. If you don't tell me the truth, I will not die in peace. Bai Go was stubborn. He turned his head back and stared at Zhang Xiaobao. He had to say something. Zhang Xiaobao spread his hands helplessly. Grandpa Bai, I really have to hand it to you. You're clearly putting a duck on a perch. All right, since you asked, I've come up with an idea on the spot. I'll tell you. Not just one. Bai Go shook his head. Who doesn't know that Zhang Xiaobao is a serial schemer? If it were someone else, it would be good if they could think of 2 or 3 related ideas. If you, Zhang Xiaobao, did not have a series of ideas, would you come to Hong Nong personally? The autumn quarter examination will be delayed for a month. All the expenses will be borne by your family. If you really do a business that is at a loss, the Tang Empire will have lost all its money. Then, you have to tell me one by one. Zhang Xiaobao was still so sincere. Say it. Bai Go had a look of, I am right. Zhang Xiaobao pondered for a moment and said, besides the 3 points just now, there is one more point. Put pressure on the Japanese and make them admit their mistakes. This way, we can increase the tariffs on Japanese exports. At the same time, we can promise to sell them more technology, so that they can buy it back and study it, but they can only use the Tang Empire's money, and the price is very high. If they want to get more money, there are 2 ways. First, let the Tang Empire's businessmen go to Japan as soon as possible to open tourist attractions. When the Tang Empire's people go there, they will naturally spend the Tang Empire's money. Second, sell more basic resources, such as silver, copper, high-end seafood, and sulfur. Otherwise, they will not be able to take out the money to buy our products and go back to study the technology. In this way, the Tang Empire's plundering of resources in Japan will be smoother, more convenient, and faster. Now that Xinhua can no longer make waves, I will deal with Japan as soon as possible, so that I can continue to expand and plunder more resources. Otherwise, when the people in other places become smarter and more powerful, it will cause too many casualties in the Tang Empire if we want to plunder. The oil we dug out is a lot in other places. Even after many years, it is still very useful and will become a national strategic item. Before Bai Go, who was listening at the side, could speak, his butler could not help but say, I don't agree with you selling technology. What if they figure it out? After saying that, he saw the 3 people looking at him in surprise, so he immediately lowered his head. He knew that he was wrong and did not have the right to speak. Zhang Xiaobao did not pursue the matter. The other party had good intentions. He smiled and explained, technology needs to be sold. Our Tang Empire's technology is developed step by step. Many of the technologies that are good for the Japanese are actually outdated. Outdated technologies waste a lot of materials and are not worth it. Also, some technologies have a great impact on the environment and the human body. We need the movements produced by that technology to be processed by another technology, but we don't want to cause too much damage to our Tang Empire. So we can only let the Japanese do the rough processing. When the time comes, I will provide a part of the technology that Japan needs a lot of raw materials. Japan doesn't have raw materials, but our Tang Empire doesn't. Even if we have it, we can't sell it to Japan. They have to obtain it themselves. I rented them a ship and found a way to let them learn how to make the oldest generation of steam engines. This is to let them go overseas to search for resources. When they arrive at a new place, they will clash with the local natives. No matter how advanced the weapons are, people will die. The Japanese can be the vanguard, understand? I understand. Go on. Bai Go continued. Chapter 941. Bai Go's expression was calm. He was used to Zhang Xiaobao's power, so he was not surprised by Zhang Xiaobao's idea. The other housekeeper was shocked. No wonder the other party had a higher status than him at such a young age. It was because the other party was thinking about different things from him. He was still thinking that he couldn't hand over the technology, but the other party was already thinking about why he should teach others. Zhang Xiaobao took a sip of tea and glanced at the housekeeper, but he did not say anything. Bai Go thought for a while and said to the housekeeper, "You will meet more officials in the future. Remember to listen, remember, and observe. Speak less. Many things are not as simple as they seem. The game behind the scenes is very difficult. Of course, it is not difficult for Xiaobao, and you can't talk about it." After talking to the housekeeper, Bai Go said to Zhang Xiaobao, "Xiaobao, what's next?" Zhang Xiaobao understood. Bai Go trusted the housekeeper. He was not afraid of him revealing the secret, but he also had a way to prevent him from revealing it. "I also want to set up a technical training class for Japanese civilians. There will be no salary, only food and lodging. First, there will be a preliminary training. Those who perform well in the training will be rewarded with a point. Then, they can use the points to exchange for skills. The initial plan is to accept 200,000 people. They only want men. They must be strong and know some skills. They can also be weak, but they must not be too weak. They must be able to walk at least 30 to 50 miles a day without any accidents." At this time, a ray of moonlight shone in through the window and shone on Zhang Xiaobao's face. Zhang Xiaobao felt more holy. No matter how Bai Go looked at it, he thought that the ray of moonlight was warning Zhang Xiaobao not to be too black-hearted. The so-called not too black-hearted meant that Zhang Xiaobao had to sell others so that they could count the money for him. When the moonlight left Zhang Xiaobao's face, Bai Go said, "Can you tell me in detail, what are the basic skills that we need 200,000 Japanese to do?" "No details. It's very simple. For example, leveling the road, strengthening the foundation, laying stones for shock absorbers, and there's also the sleepers and the tracks, right?" Before Zhang Xiaobao could finish, Bai Go had already finished his sentence. "Ah, so, Grandpa Bai, you also know technology?" Zhang Xiaobao was surprised. "What do I know about technology? It's not like I haven't seen railway construction before. Not only is it tiring, but there are also dangers at any time. Just the laying of the railway from Chang until Luoyang cost more than 40 lives, and even more were injured. It's impossible to guard against the dangers. When carrying the railway, one careless mistake could result in an accident. You're worried about the people of my great Tang, so you plan to use someone else. In any case, in your eyes, the lives of foreigners aren't worth as much as an ox. You're too ruthless, but I support you. As long as you don't kill any of my great Tang, I won't feel uneasy." Bai Go didn't need Zhang Xiaobao to explain more. He knew that the most ruthless person was Xiaobao. Although Cuckoo had killed a lot of people, she was still not as ruthless as Xiaobao. Xiaobao was ruthless because he didn't want you to die immediately, but tortured you. Xiaobao was also the most soft-hearted. He couldn't bear to see anything happen to the people of Great Tang. Just like Sanshui County, as long as the people of Great Tang went to Sanshui County, even if they were penniless and had not eaten for days, once they entered the territory of Sanshui County or were seen by the people of Sanshui County, they would not die unless they were seriously ill. There were many small houses for people to rest in Sanshui County. As a Great Tang citizen, you could spend money to buy good things, eat free food, and drink free soup. The free things were not so good, but they could fill your stomach. If you were sick, there would be someone to treat you. It seemed that Xiaobao felt that too many people died in the construction of railways, so he didn't want to do that. So he went to deceive the Japanese. The Japanese probably didn't know that before they came, and thought that they could take back the advanced technology. When they started to work, they couldn't leave even if they wanted to. "Xiaobao, when the Japanese come, do you care if they fall ill? What about their meals and accommodation?" Bai Go asked. "Fall ill? Of course. When the Japanese come, they are not allowed to leave the designated place, in case the sick people of Great Tang infect them. I'm kind-hearted and can't bear to see the Japanese get infected. Besides, the Day Medical College will send skilled students to treat their diseases." Zhang Xiaobao touched his heart to show that he was kind-hearted. "Students? not doctors or medical doctors. Bai Go asked again. They will be led by doctors and medical doctors. When they encounter special and serious diseases, they can teach the students on the spot. For example, if they need to perform an operation, the doctors and medical doctors need to show the students. If there's a wrong cut, they have to explain to the students in time and tell them how to cut. Zhang Xiaobao put his other hand on his heart to show how kind-hearted he was. What about their meals and accommodation? They have the best Highland barley as their staple food and delicious salted vegetables. You said that radish and salted vegetables are very delicious. You don't eat much meat, so they are the same. I can't be so cruel to let them eat meat every day, which will make their bodies unhealthy. Every half a month, I will give them nutrition. You know bean cakes, right? They are the leftovers after the oil is squeezed out. They can be used to make tofu and feed. Our technology is not very advanced, so there are a lot of nutrients in the bean cakes. Every half a month, I will make bean cakes for them and stew them with wild vegetables. There's oil and protein in the bean cakes. It's okay if you don't know about protein. You can go to the medical school and ask. Zhang Xiaobao counted with his fingers and listed the benefits one by one. Bai Go had a strong mentality, so he did not have much reaction. Wang Wan did not care at all, but Bai Go's butler's face started to twitch. He found out how evil Zhang Xiaobao was. People who raised pigs could still let the pigs eat leftovers with oil. Cows and horses could even eat eggs. Zhang Xiaobao could actually say that the Japanese could not even compare to animals, and yet he was so righteous. How much hatred did he have for the Japanese? Unexpectedly, Bai Go nodded. That's right. I can't stand the oily and fishy food. I know about Highland barley. It has a unique shell fragrance when cooked together with the shell. I didn't expect Grandpa Bai to know so much about life. I'm not as good as you. I didn't think of that before. I even wanted to remove the shell. I admire you. Zhang Xiaobao gave a thumbs up. It's okay, Bai Go said modestly. Wang Wan also understood and said happily. Xiaobao, we can save a lot of money now, right? The butler understood and decided to listen to his master in the future. He would not make any mistakes again. He could not be punished to taste the shell fragrance. The accommodation isn't too bad. There are pillows piled up to block the wind, and use the best straw to keep warm. Zhang Xiaobao casually mentioned the accommodation. All right, I'm relieved that you can treat the Japanese well. Continue. Bai Go nodded. He was indeed relieved. Xiaobao had not changed. He was still the same black-hearted and ruthless Xiaobao. That's it. Zhang Xiaobao did not expect Bai Go to change the topic again. Continue. Bai Go was not moved. Why are you like this? Wife, you tell Grandpa Bai. Zhang Xiaobao gestured to Wang Wan. Wang Wan rolled her eyes. Who's your wife? Call me madam. Grandpa Bai, Xiaobao wants people from the Serenade temple to come over. Normally, there are still a few crops that have not been harvested, especially the late rice that was developed 2 years ago. Now that all the crops have been washed away, the Serenade temple has developed a new variety. They have only conducted one experiment. The new variety needs to survive the winter. It is said that once it succeeds, the yield will be very high. Wheat, let's call it winter wheat. It is slightly different from winter wheat, but it is not suitable for planting north of the Yellow River. There is no need for the north. Anyway, there is only one batch of grain in a year. Xiao Bao and I are in the Bohai Commander-in-Chief's office. The new variety of rice there is delicious. You will be able to eat it this year. Therefore, Xiao Bao wants people from the Serenade temple to try planting in Hongnong. The area is large and the climate is suitable. Anyway, Hongnong is already like this. No matter how bad it is, it can't be too bad. Especially what Xiao Bao has done for the imperial court. Not only did the people's impression of the imperial court not worsen, but it also improved. That's right. The people don't ask for much. In fact, as long as the officials are dealt with, the people will admit that the emperor is good. Moreover, You have to compensate for all the losses. If the crops are bad, you have to continue to compensate, right? Bai Go could understand. They were using Hong Nong as an experiment. Whether it was good or bad, it depended on Hong Nong. The people were the most obedient. An emperor who could force the people to rebel was not an ordinary emperor. The current emperor, Li Longji, was very ordinary. Otherwise, there was no need to force the people to rebel. Xiao Bao and Cuckoo could have done it. The emperor also admitted this point. Fortunately, Xiao Bao and Cuckoo did not have the intention to seize the throne, nor did they threaten the emperor. They even encouraged the emperor to eat good food, wear good clothes, and use good things. They could create luxuries that the emperor could not imagine for the emperor. They could also get entertainment that the emperor could not think of for the emperor. Other officials were afraid that the emperor would spend a lot of money when he went on an inspection tour. Xiao Bao and Cuckoo encouraged the emperor to go out for a walk when he had nothing to do, even if they had to pay for it. There was really no better official than them. However, the emperor himself had said that there was a prerequisite. That was, the emperor could not be muddle-headed and muddle-headed. He should not hinder Xiao Bao and Cuckoo from doing things. It's hard to understand what the two of them are thinking. If other people had this ability, they might not be able to bear it and rebel. The two of them are actually enjoying it. Do they really think that being the emperor is too tiring and not fun? It makes sense. The emperor is indeed not as carefree as the two of them. Bai Go did not speak for a while. He was thinking about something. Zhang Xiaobao did not know what Bai Go was thinking. If he knew, he would definitely tell Bai Go. Is it so easy to be the chairman and premier? Don't you see that people in those positions age quickly? Seeing that Bai Go did not speak, Zhang Xiaobao spoke. Grandpa Bai, actually, the businessmen of my dynasty are very smart. I want to build a few more distribution centers. My family can't always pay for it. Some money can't be earned. When it's time to delegate power, it has to be delegated. I want to build a distribution center in Hong Nong and let other businessmen see the opportunity. They would follow the example of other places and build a place for the circulation of goods in order to gain benefits. Only the goods that were circulated were considered goods. The faster the circulation, the more taxes the country would collect. It was not wrong to hide wealth from the people, but the central government must have more money to control the local areas. Otherwise, with the development of technology, there will be imbalance in the development of the local areas. The local areas are strong, and the central government does not have the power to control them except for the military. If they continue to support the local areas, it is actually tempting the local officials to rebel. The financial and military power must be firmly controlled by the emperor. Zhang Xiaobao finally spoke the truth. Wang Wan sighed. Bai Go also sighed. His sigh was different from Wang Wan's. Wang Wan knew too many facts and sighed for history. Bai Go sighed for Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. So you and Cuckoo are here? Yes. Zhang Xiaobao said in a heavy tone. Yes, what? No, continue. Bai Go turned his face and asked about Zhang Xiaobao's calculations. His butler thought that Zhang Xiaobao had already said the last thing, but he did not expect his master to not let go. He began to feel that his master was too much. How could there be more? Zhang Xiaobao was also a person, and he could say many things. But just as he was about to sympathize with Zhang Xiaobao said unhappily, Grandpa Bai, you can't ask about everything. No matter what, you have to leave me with some secrets. There's more? There's really more? The butler's eyes widened. While he was frightened by Zhang Xiaobao's calculations, he admired his master more and more. This time, Zhang Xiaobao did not need Bai Go to force him. He said, Grandpa Bai, the entire Hunan province and even Luoyang officials are involved. A large number of officials have to go down. I will stay in Hong Nong until the fall imperial examination. Will you think His Majesty will ask about? Of course, it's about the governance of Hunan province in the imperial examination, especially the subject of Mingjing. Bai Go answered directly. Yes, so now the students of Jinjia Academy are preparing for the examination. You also know that most of the students of Jinjia Academy are in the combat category, so I have to create some opportunities for them. One person has to be replaced by another person. I think the students of Jinjia Academy are better, don't you think? Zhang Xiaobao showed an expression of "I'm very honest." Baigo was stunned and pointed at Zhang Xiaobao. You, Xiaobao, you. Cuckoo, why don't you scold him? He even interferes with the appointment and dismissal of officials. I don't know. Wang Wan looked very innocent. Xiaobao, Grandpa Bai is scolding you. Let go. Hunan Province belongs to the imperial court. What does it have to do with us? If there are vacancies in the officials, there will naturally be people anxious to get in. Why do you care if they are capable? When there are no students of the academy, Hunan Province is no longer Hunan Province. It's useless for the students of the academy to be capable. Someone has to think that they are capable. Let's get them to work in the Bohai Commander-in-Chief's mansion. They can also do something. Grandpa Bai, look, I'm talking about Xiaobao. Baigo was so angry that he laughed. Haha, Cuckoo, you'd better talk about me. We are indeed from the same family. You have to be biased when you speak. Yes, in recent years, the imperial court has been suppressing the students of your academy. The officials are also afraid. As you said, they are all practical. If they really join hands with you, how can the imperial court control them? I don't care. Hunan Province is developing the best, but it has always been the most chaotic. There should be a clear stream. Baigo had no choice. The students of Jinjia Academy were extraordinarily capable. Unlike the students of other academies, they were very strict in selecting talents. They didn't want those with low IQ or those who were unwilling to learn. When it was time to take the imperial examination, they still had to go through the internal selection of the academy. The selection of Jinjia Academy included economic, political, military, and diplomatic aspects. It could be said that there was a constant struggle. Only by passing the selection could one get a place to take the imperial examination. As a result, all the students who could sit in the examination hall were the best, because those who were not good enough had been eliminated. Since Grandpa Bai supports me, I'll say something else. Zhang Xiaobao said happily. Chapter 942. Under the expectant gaze of Baigo and his butler, Zhang Xiaobao slowly said, "It's really the last idea. It's not a big deal. Xiao Bei, Xiao Yuan, and the others suffered a lot in Hong Nong. Fortunately, they followed me and Cuckoo around and saw a lot. Otherwise, if they were ordinary children, they would often have nightmares when they saw floating corpses, even if they were not scared silly. They were willing to take out all their savings for the reconstruction of Hong Nong. More than 1,000,000 strings of cash is not a small amount. If they were businessmen, the imperial court would reward them, not to mention children. Don't be silly. The words that come out of your mouth sound different. What do you mean by all their savings? According to your words, Xiao Bei and the others will have no money at all. They won't be able to live in the future. It sounds very pitiful." Baigo was amused by Zhang Xiaobao's words. If it was someone else who said more than 1,000,000 strings of cash, it would be scary. But when it was Xiaobao who said it seriously, it only gave people a feeling of absurdity. To Xiaobao, could more than 1,000,000 strings of cash be considered money? Wang Wan chimed in to help. Grandpa Bai, you can't deny the kindness of the 9 children just because our family is rich. If it were other children, they would take out their savings of 100 copper coins. And Xiao Bei and the others would give 1,000,000 strings of cash, which is 1,000,000,000 copper coins. I won't comment on how much money is, it's too vulgar. I just want to say that they are the same, giving everything they have. That's right, but don't use 1,000,000,000 copper coins to pressure me. I used to be a minister of the Ministry of Revenue, and I've seen money. Baigo nodded and admitted. He looked up at his butler. Changcheng, say something. The housekeeper had seen the world today. When the master talked to Zhang Xiaobao, he talked about money in the millions. He was always scheming against the country. Hearing the master's question, he pondered for a moment and replied, Master, compared to Zhang Xiaobei and Wang Xiaoyuan, I'm not as good as them. My food, clothes, and accommodation are all paid for by the master. However, I still can't bear to give all my money to others, even if it's used for disaster relief. If I only take 1/10 of it, I might be able to do it. Embarrassing. Baigo felt that the butler was embarrassing him. It was not like he was asking him to take it. To put it nicely, this butler was too honest. As soon as Baigo had this idea, Wang Wan said, "It's human nature." The steward shows his loyalty by telling the truth. Since the steward said he would grit his teeth and give 1/10 of the money, I thank the steward on behalf of the people of Hongnong. I will send someone to the steward to get it. The butler immediately trembled. Fortunately, he had said 1 in 10 just now. She really wanted it. Baigo was speechless. When he saw the smile in Wang Wan's eyes, he couldn't vent the anger in his heart. If the butler had cooperated and said that he would take everything, he would probably be crying now. She was serious. Baigo did not intend to continue to let this pair of shrewd people talk. The housekeeper paid for the money, and the master paid for it. Baigo changed the topic and thought, "Cuckoo, Xiaobei's money was paid for by the imperial court. We can ask the emperor for it later. How can we count it on them?" Grandfather Bai's guess is correct. I also think so. However, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Since Grandfather Bai has the same idea, when we return to the capital, can Xiaobei and the others ask the emperor for money? Grandfather Bai needs to help more. A few days ago, Xiaobei said that she missed Grandfather Bai and wanted to sing and dance for Grandfather Bai. She said that Grandfather Bai is the best grandfather besides her biological grandfather. Zhang Xiaobao quickly took over Baigo's words. The meaning was very clear. Didn't you say that you could ask the emperor for it? Well, go and ask for it. See if you can get it back. Don't make Xiaobei sad. Baigo regretted. His mouth was cheap. Even if it was 100 copper coins, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family would not be able to get it from the emperor. For so many years, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family paid for it, but the imperial court did not give it to them. This had become a common practice. It could be seen from Xiaobei's official robes. The double gold and silver fish bag could be written into the history books. Of course, there should be a small line of words at the end. Because the imperial court was short of money, it was ordered to self-control, so it became a mistake. Baigo raised his sleeve and wiped the non-existent sweat to cover up. He said, Xiaobao, you said that you have another idea. What is it? Zhang Xiaobao laughed secretly. He did not expect to get back the money that his family spent for the Tang Empire. Basically, all the money was given to him by preferential policies. After laughing secretly, Zhang Xiaobao said, "This time, the county magistrate of Hongnong County, Yan Zheng, dared to destroy the embankment because he thought that no one would pursue the matter. I want to use Xiaobei's name to build an amusement park on the Honglu River. A water amusement park does not cost money. There are specific activities in it. If you want to play, you can spend money. However, the person who manages the project will definitely have nothing to do with my family. My family is only in charge of the maintenance and repair of the amusement park. We also collect some fees for the land. In the name of Xiaobei's 9 children, I believe that the new official will not dare to do anything when he knows that Honglu River is under the care of Xiaobei and the others. Don't you think so?" Baigo pondered over Zhang Xiaobao's words and had to agree. Indeed, no official wants to be targeted by Xiaobei and the others. Otherwise, during the evaluation, even if he did not do anything wrong, he would be demoted by 3 grades. If he is guilty, he will be punished. However, if we build an amusement park on the Honglu River, how long will it take to earn more than 3 million coins? This old man knows that it is not easy for Xiaobei and the others to earn money. Other than the small business they came up with, most of it is the New Year's money and tips that they count out to the elders during festivals. Even if your family gives more because of your family, the other elders are embarrassed to give less. For example, When Xiao Bei and the others pay New Year's greetings, I can't take out less than 100 coins. However, this is their hard work money. The only thing this old man did not expect is that Xiao Bei and the others are willing to take out their hard work money just once they come to Hongnong. Your Majesty really did not spoil the wrong people. In Hanyuan Palace, Xiao Bei is sitting on the dragon chair. I want to see who dares to talk behind their backs. In fact, Baigo was not used to it. When Xiao Bei and the others arrived at Hanyuan Palace, they ran to Baigo's side. Xiao Bei sat on the armrest of the dragon chair and even squeezed with the emperor with a smile. Even the crown prince did not dare to touch that place. However, after this incident, Baigo thought that it was fine to sit there. The chair would not break. She did not want to be the emperor. She just felt that the view there was broad. Baigo's attitude made Zhang Xiaobao feel very embarrassed, so he said, "Try not to spoil them." "So, Grandpa Bai, you also agreed to build an amusement park in the name of Xiao Bei and the others, and be responsible for the maintenance and repair of the Honglu River, and collect a little land fee?" "I agree. How many people can there be in Hongnong County? I am only worried that the money earned is not enough to maintain it, and you will have to pay extra," Baigo said. His housekeeper also nodded. Wang Wan could not help but laugh and quickly covered her mouth with her hand. "Cuckoo, why are you laughing?" Baigo was puzzled. Wang Wan shook her head hard. "No, nothing. I just thought of something else happy, so I laughed." "Really? Xiao Bao, you can't lie to this old man. Tell me the truth. Can the amusement park make money? How much money can it make?" Baigo finally figured it out. Zhang Xiaobao stared at Wang Wan and got Wang Wan to roll her eyes back. He looked even more embarrassed than before. "Grandpa Bai, there are two sides to this matter, right? Don't talk to me about other things. I just want to ask you, can the amusement park make money?" Baigo was not fooled. "Logically speaking, if we give it to others, we can't make money. You see, we don't manage the specific projects of the amusement park, and we also need to take care of the maintenance and repair of the Honglu River." "That's not a small amount of money, right?" Zhang Xiaobao asked tentatively. "Don't try to reason with me. If you really want to reason with me, then this old man will tell you. Logically speaking, you, Zhang Xiaobao, have never done a losing deal. Just now I was fooled by you. If not for Cuckold's sudden laughter, I would still be in the dark. If you want to blame it on Cuckold, you two can fight in private. Now I want to hear the truth. According to Zhang Xiaobao's ability to make money, it is impossible for him to be your idea to come to Hongnong. I feel sorry for Xiao Bei and others, but I don't feel sorry for you." Baigo reacted and did not believe Zhang Xiaobao's nonsense. He was careless. He was fooled. It was really impossible to guard against. The housekeeper didn't understand and was puzzled. They were talking, but why did the master have such a big reaction when Wang Wan laughed? Wang Wan continued to laugh. Zhang Xiaobao shrugged helplessly and said to Wang Wan, "Wife, let's be more reserved. You see, when you laugh, I am isolated. You are a lady from a noble family. You should pay attention to your manners. You are still laughing. I am so smart. Xiaobao, I have seen through you. You have been fooling me since I was young. Now, you are getting smarter and smarter. I have decided not to stay in Sanshui County anymore. I will go out and be a liar. After being fooled by you for so many years, I have finished my apprenticeship, right?" Baigo was furious. He was not angry at Zhang Xiaobao, but at himself. After so many years, he had been fooled again and again. Why didn't he learn his lesson? Wang Wan pinched Zhang Xiaobao twice and finally stopped laughing. She wiped the tears from her laughter and said to Baigo, "Grandpa Bai, you can't be a liar because there are no liars in Tang. Yes, where there is Xiaobao, there are no liars. I found out. If he is not a liar, the world will be peaceful. Xiaobao, don't try to hide. Tell me, how much money can you make?" Baigo kept telling himself that it was not the first time he was fooled. Only then did he suppress the anger in his heart. "Actually, we can't make much money. You know, my family has invested a lot of money in researching technology. We have electric lights, flashlights, washing machines, fans, and now there is something called electronic machine tools. We haven't finished researching them yet, but there are byproducts. So, we have some entertainment projects. I plan to put them in the amusement park. We will not operate them directly. We will rent them out and charge them for the land. In the past, there were only so many people in Hong Nong. But didn't I mention before that there will be a railway connecting Hong Nong to the north of the Yangtze River in the future? We will build a distribution center for goods. At that time, we can have a little more people, right? Just a little more. The hibiscus garden in the capital is too empty. My family is going to give a set of equipment like the Honglushui amusement park for free. When it is open, we will charge a fee and give it to the emperor directly. Those who don't have the opportunity to go to the hibiscus garden can enjoy it in Honglushui. Does this count as benefiting the country and the people? I don't want a single cent of the money I make. I will give it all to Xiao Bei and the others. Even if they donate it tomorrow, I will not stop them. Cute and sensible children should be rewarded. Zhang Xiaobao explained his plan. He did not mention how much money he could make, nor did he mention the prospects. But Bai Go, who had been the Minister of Revenue, immediately knew how profitable this industry was. I found that what Cuckoo said was not wrong at all. Where there is Xiaobao, there will definitely be no swindlers. Xiaobao has thousands of ways to make money, but he will never cheat. How many people in the Tang Empire and the surrounding countries dare to cheat in front of him? Changchun, do you see? Sometimes, one can make money with confidence. Bai Go had been in contact with Zhang Xiaobao for many years. He immediately thought of the future profits of Honglushui. It would definitely be many times more than what Xiao Bei paid. That was because the hibiscus garden was not open often, but the amusement park was always open. Moreover, he knew that Zhang Xiaobao could make a lot of money from it, but he could not stop it. Not to mention him, even the people from the censorate could not say anything. Since Xiaobao said that he would give the money to his younger brothers and sisters, he would never ask for a single cent. Others could not attack Xiao Bei and the others. Although they were rich, as long as the people of the Tang Empire needed it, they could take it out immediately. After a slight estimation of the traffic of the merchandise distribution center, Bai Go felt that the money invested by Xiao Bei and his 9 children could be earned back in 3 to 5 years. Compared with Xiao Bao's investment, the return on investment was still low. He decided to support him from the side. Master. Bai Go's butler was different from Bai Go. He was in contact with the bottom of the society, so he knew the development prospects of Honglushui amusement park better. He could not help but want to remind the master. Say it. Bai Go asked in front of Zhang Xiaobao. Master, this. The butler was hesitant. Bai Go's face suddenly darkened. Changchun, you just heard a lot of national policies. If it is spread out and delayed, your whole family will be annihilated. The butler immediately felt that his back was wet with sweat. The master's meaning was very clear. What he just heard was national policies. If it was leaked, his whole family would be annihilated. Now, he was playing tricks in front of Zhang Xiaobao. What would Zhang Xiaobao think? Wang Wan said very cooperatively, Grandpa Bai, if your butler does this again in the future, don't blame me for killing him. This time, he is not sensible. You have to scold him more. Bai Go was relieved. He was really afraid that Xiao Bao and Cuckoo would not say anything. It was just a small matter. He was afraid that if they did not say anything, it would be called estrangement. If so, he would not have the face to live in Sanshui County. Say it. Go back and get 10 whips. Bai Go scolded the butler. The butler knew that the master saved his life. Otherwise, he would not be able to leave the yard. He was so scared that he cupped his hands. If it was not to protect the master's face, he would have knelt down. Of course, he did not know that if he really knelt down, he would be dead. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan respected Grandpa Bai. They would not allow Grandpa Bai's servant to lose face. Master, they will make a lot of money. Maybe in less than a year, they can earn back more than 1 million strings of coins. Don't you want to share? The butler had to tell the truth. Can they really make so much money? Xiao Bao. Baigo did not ask the butler. Instead, he asked Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao waved his hand at the butler, indicating that he would not pursue the matter. Then he said to Baigo, "Grandpa, what do you enjoy in Sanshui County? When others go there, they only know that between the clouds and the water is good and that the pond between the clouds and the water is big. What about you?" "Me? Of course, the mountain is in the middle of the water. The best scenery is not between the clouds and the water, but Zhuangzi, the mountain behind the Zhang family and the Wang family, and the water surrounding the mountain. Also, the best place to comprehend is not the Jinjia Academy, but the children's school. What the academy has, the school must have. What the academy has, the school may not have. The sound of reading is definitely not comparable to the cheerful laughter of the children. I also know that the academy usually eats pork and chicken. The children of the Zhang family and the Wang family usually eat beef and mutton. But I eat pig stomach, chicken delicacies, lamb liver, beef bay, fish roe, fish float, and foie gras. Xiaobao, you're so considerate. It's all thanks to you that this old man is still alive. I didn't know where I lived at first, but after asking around, I found out that the temperature there was always 23 to 25 degrees Celsius. Every day, I had to drink a small bowl of fishy and fresh bone marrow kunbu porridge. Every day I am alive is because of you and Cuckoo. But what does this have to do with the Honglu Water Amusement Park? How can making money compare to between the clouds and the water? Baigo was not stupid at all. He knew very well what kind of treatment he enjoyed. It could be said that it was meticulous. Therefore, he was biased toward Xiaobao and Cuckoo without any psychological burden. Wang Wan fed Baigo a small cake and said, "Grandpa Bai, that's what you should do." In fact, Xiaobao means that once a businessman comes to Hongnong County and knows that there is a place like the hibiscus garden that only the emperor can enjoy, if the seller doesn't take the buyer to the amusement park, it can only mean that the buyer's status is too low. All businessmen who don't know how to behave have been eliminated. Those who stay will definitely take people to the amusement park. The amusement park is free, but the projects inside charge money. Who cares about that little money? Xiao Bao doesn't need to calculate this point. I can tell Grandpa by that after this winter, the distribution center will be built. From the beginning of spring to the middle of summer next year, we can earn more than 3 million strings of cash in 2 seasons. This is because there are only 2 places in the Tang Empire that have the same project. The amusement park is not only a place to relax, but also a place to show one's status. We won't run it independently, but we will raise the cost of the technical equipment and the land cost of the individual projects. Our publicity is that we can enjoy the life of an emperor through several journeys in the human world. Listening to Wang Wan's explanation, Baigo finally understood how the amusement park made money. No wonder Zhang Xiaobao suggested that they could earn back their capital in 2 seasons. It was true. The hibiscus garden couldn't be opened often. People rarely saw what the emperor played. Cuckoo, according to what you said, there is a possibility of overdoing it, Baigo advised kindly. Yes, Grandpa Bai is right. That's why we want Xiao Bei and the others to discuss it with His Majesty. If His Majesty can say to Xiao Bei, you kids should take out the New Year's money you got from kowtowing and not get anything in return, then we'll accept it. In that case, we'll accept it. We'll immediately cancel the Honglushui amusement park. Wang Wan spread her hands. Master, the emperor can't say this, the butler reminded him. Nonsense, of course I know. How can His Majesty say that the country will be destroyed? When he said this, he didn't mention the people of Luzhou, the people of Yutufan, the people of Sanshui County, the reaction of Shuzhou, the indignation of Yizhou, and the entire northern part of Hebei province. How many people wouldn't be worried about the people in other places of the Tang Empire? Even the ministers would be bitterly disappointed. Xiao Bei and the others represented loyalty, faith, glory, courage, honesty, justice, sacrifice, and fairness, just like the knights in the story that Xiao Yuan repeated. Of course, this was not the most amazing thing. The most amazing thing was that Xiao Bei and the others were not adults, so other words such as cute, sensible, lively, smart, naughty, and so on should be added. How can His Majesty refuse? Do you think it a joke to reduce the punishment by 3 grades and add punishment for every crime? You haven't seen what Hanyuan Palace is like. When others walk on both sides, Xiao Bei and the others jump in the middle and jump up. Baigo finally knew the plan of Xiao Bao and Cuckoo. Master, can't others walk in the middle? The butler didn't know anything else but this, so he asked curiously. No one has ever walked in the middle. There are no steps in the middle, and there are big pieces of land. How can one walk? When His Majesty goes to court, he will either appear at the back or at the front, and there will be people carrying the carriage. The people carrying the carriage also have to walk on both sides. The middle is carved, so who will walk in the middle? His Majesty doesn't summon people easily now, and when he does, he will use binoculars. From top to bottom, it is more than 100 meters away, and you can't see anything even if you raise your head. Do you think it's the story that Xiao Bei and the others told? When they say that His Majesty is at the top and ask the people below to raise their heads, His Majesty will be able to see their delicate features. Unless His Majesty is far-sighted. His Majesty doesn't have that ability, so he uses binoculars. Xiao Bei and the others don't care about that. Sometimes, they even run to the back. When His Majesty summons them, they are next to the dragon throne. How can you reason with them? Except for Zhang Zhong scolding, the other officials are all silent. Baigo told the butler what happened in the court. The butler didn't know who Zhang Zhong was, so he asked, Master, what rank is Zhang Zhong? Is he so powerful? Is he more powerful than the legendary Master Gao? Zhang Zhong is the Minister of Works, and he is Xiao Bei's biological father. Master Gao? Gao Lishir is Xiao Bao's godfather, so he is his godfather. What can he say? Do you understand? If you offend Xiao Bao will reason with you. If you offend Xiao Bei, you can't say anything even if you are right. Bai Mao instructed his steward earnestly. You're tuning in to the Echo Reads YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.